Hello, welcome along. It's our first ever live stream from Football Manager 2020 and we are focusing today on the head coach. I hope you can all hear and see me. That's the main aim of this, of course. We want to make sure that you can see what's going on. We're going to go through from the end of the season with Salford all the way through to our next season. So we're going to go through the transfer special in the summer. We're also going to try and look out for some transfers as well. So we want to make sure that we've got all of the players coming in. Kasper in charge of that for us. So we're going to have absolutely no idea what's going on. He's going to be making all of the signings. He's going to be making all of the changes. He will decide what happens. But we're also going to be going on the job hunt, and that's the most important thing for us. So if we go and head over, we're back here at the end of season just so we can go through all of our normal messages and that. But firstly, thank you to everyone who's joining along. The live chat should be up and running in a minute, so please feel free to leave a comment. I can't see much at the moment. It's a little bit slow on my end, but we will get there. But let's go and head on to the messages, and fingers crossed we'll be able to get going. So let me just go and say hello to you all. And obviously this is a bit new to me, so I'll probably be a bit slow in catching up with the messages and bits like that. But as we go along, I'm sure I'll be able to make it. So let me know if there's any problems as we go along. Hopefully I'll be able to see. But otherwise, we're going to crack on straight with this. So I'll try and keep up with the messages and that, but I'm sure it'll be a little bit slow as we go along. So let's go back to Football Manager, shall we? We've got a lot to do here. So a little bit of a setup, but we've got to see a very good season to review because Salford were flying. We were doing absolutely excellently there. The best 11 we'll go through, but there's no real surprises in there. You know what players were standing out for us. Of course, it's a massive step up to the Championship, and I kind of like to jump ship. I'm the worst kind of snake in this series. The other one, we're all about trying to be loyal, trying to get to the top with Dorking, but in this one, it's just about moving on as soon as it's physically possible. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. We have no idea how it's going to work out, but let's just crack on and look through. So the end of season review, that's the most important bit. A really good season. We were expected to finish in the playoffs and we managed to get to the top. In terms of the side, where are they now? Loads of players have moved on. We don't see any problem with that. But these are the big ones. The club vision. What do they expect next season? Well, they don't expect us to stay up, actually. They only want us to fight bravely against relegation, so we can't really argue with that. I've got no problems whatsoever. The only slight issue I've got at the moment is I can't see the live chat, so that's the only one we're a bit behind on. So let's try and sort that out. Then I can interact with you all and say hello. Okie doke, so let's have a look. Fight bravely against relegation, work within the wage budget. We've got nothing we can do with that. Dynamics, everything looking excellent. End of season team meeting, we better go for what the board have said. So they just want us to stay up. Let's see what the best message is here. You'll probably all be screaming at me when I pick the wrong ones now. I'm going to give them a chance to fight against relegation. I'm sort of hoping for the fact that he's not going to make many signings, Kasper. He rarely does, so I'm not going to be too surprised if he doesn't. But I'd like to make sure we can move on beforehand if possible. In terms of the club visions, we're just going to accept that. I'm really happy with how things are going. We've had some standout performers, but of course, that's not going to stop us. If we want to move on, we'll move on. So let's see what jobs are available now. Ones that may become available over the next few weeks. Hopefully we can get involved with those as much as possible. We wouldn't mind getting a big step up. We've of course been the island manager now, so we should have a little bit more of a reputation in that sense. And hopefully as we skip through the days, we'll be able to go ahead and hopefully get involved in the transfer window. So as you can see, if we go over to the staff responsibilities, absolutely everything in transfers and contracts is set to our director of football or head of youth development. So they're in charge. Kasper hasn't yet had a new contract, which is a worry because we might have a change of one right in the middle of the window. But otherwise, things are looking pretty good. So hopefully we'll be able to get some good players in. Kasper's going to do his work. We're just going to skip through and hopefully you guys will enjoy it as much. No big jobs available at the moment, so nothing we can really go for. But as the Premier League season finishes next week and the playoffs take place in the Championship, we'll keep an eye out of those as the week go on. So let's skip ahead and hopefully we'll have some transfer news coming along shortly. Right, we're not far behind actually. There's a lot of fixtures and that's one of the things that we've got to change next season. We're a bit worried because we were dropping back down the leagues that we might have to even keep most of the leagues loaded that we had before. So we will take some of those smaller leagues off just to speed up the processing of the game as we go along. But for this one, probably the last time we're at risk. Chaplin's broken the goal scoring record. He was joint with Lucas Smith, so I don't know how they've chosen between those two. Ben Close, of course, most man of the matches, 15. That is ridiculous. What a wonderful achievement from him. And in Horgard for clean sheets, we were brilliant defensively. 29 is magnificent. He didn't even play the last 3 or 4 games. Wonderful from Horgard. Hopefully, he'll be able to be a key player next season. A little bit unhappy at the moment, so we've got to watch out for that too. But let's get back ahead. Hopefully we'll be able to get through as quickly as possible. And we'll have plenty of enjoyment to have this time because Chris Kasper is going to finally have a good transfer window. Well, we're skipping through the days quite quickly. That's good. I guess the one thing we want to talk about is what we're hoping with Salford next season. If we do end up having to stay here, I'm sort of hoping Chris Kasper will prepare us. Because let's not forget, the reason we did so well this year is it wasn't a huge change to what we had last season. Last season, we had a side that couldn't really compete in a championship, but was going to be very good in League One. There were only really a few additions before the start of the League One season. And as it happens, we weren't quite able to be a playoff side in League One. We ended up being the title winners. We were a very good side at that level. But of course, we already know how we're going to compete in a championship. So we have to get players in if we want that to work. So fingers crossed that will happen. I'm just going to reload because the chat's crashed again. But either way, everything else going well. Let's see if Salford City have got some news. 3 days later, just a loan report. We've got one player coming back who may be a bit of a star. So I'm kind of hoping he will be. Let's have a look. That's a bit of an interesting one. Let's see what's going on there. Sam Taylor, not the best player there. He's had a very good season at Cheltenham. His stats don't suggest he's a 2.5-star player. That's the bit that's getting me here, really. I mean, I've no idea why not. I can see a few comments have popped through. The chat's caught up. So thank you to Tom. Good to see you can hear us loud and clear. Let's have a look. What else is happening? Joe, hi, thanks for popping along. Craig, no to Rivaldo. I'm sure people will find out more about that later. So in terms of the Rivaldo situation, I'm starting a network series over on the podcast at 7 o'clock tonight. And I think you'll probably see why he's saying that then. There's a bit of bad news coming on his front there. But for those of you who are along, thank you very much for coming along and watching. We're going to try and get through this window. I'm a bit worried that the fact Sam Taylor's coming back and might have to be a first team player, to be honest. But either way, we must be optimistic at this point. We're still only 3 days in. Oh dear. Right, playoffs starting in League One. So this is something we have got to keep an eye on because the League One playoffs, we need to know who's coming up with us. And obviously some sides we competed against this year. So Wigan and Peterborough, you would assume, are the favourites there. Walsall and Wimbledon doing very well. I wonder if in this series, have Wimbledon moved back into Plough Lane yet? They must have by now. They have, but only 10,000 of the capacity so far. So still a very good ground. They'll be able to compete. Let's see who comes out on top there. Well, you can take back what I just said, can't you? Peterborough losing at home to Wimbledon. Wigan losing at home to Walsall. That's basically the opposite of what I said. So good start there, if nothing else. Oh dear, this is not good, is it? I've got it pretty much every prediction wrong so far, so that's not going to be good for the summer. But either way, we're getting players now. We're going to get this throughout the summer as well. People who need to be called up for the Island squad. That's something we haven't even thought about. I think the next fixture's in September. I'm just going to make sure that's the case. It is 3rd of September next, then the 6th of September. So hopefully we'll be able to catch up by then. I'm just a little bit concerned, to be honest, because Chris Kasper, he doesn't tend to do too much. So, I mean, I hope he gets into action soon because we've had this before. I think already in 2 videos I've given him the chance to shine and he hasn't yet done so. So, we'll have to wait and see if he can manage it this time round. But either way, things looking good so far. We're skipping through to my birthday in Dame. So, 7th of May, what year will I be there? That'll be 33. Still not bad for a young manager. Back up to the 2nd tier of English football. But again, thank you. I can see more people dropping in. Thanks for coming along. We do appreciate it. And it is going to be a very big transfer special, but hopefully not a quiet one. We're reliant entirely on Chris Kasper. So if this is boring, it has no action in whatsoever, he's the man you've got to blame. But as it is for us, we've got 3 days now till the end of the English Premier League season. I'm hoping some clubs that would be bigger in reputation to get relegated, might even be able to get a job offer in. You never know as you go along. But I'm going to be here, trusty glass. Let's get going. Thank you again for the couple of messages popping in. People saying hi. I do appreciate you coming along. Little bit slow to get through the end of the Premier League season. It's that last week before the fixtures dry up, so it's always the hardest one. But hopefully, before too long, we'll be flying through and we'll be looking at Chris Kasper's action over and over again, because we really need him to get going at this point. In terms of the other series, Dorking Wanderers, thank you to everyone who came for the transfer special yesterday in that one. I really did appreciate that. It was quite a frustrating summer, I can't lie. We've got the first game of the championship season there tomorrow. That's going to be the hardest one for us, to be honest. But as we go along, I'm sure we'll be fine, and I'm sure we'll be able to compete at that level. Let's have a look. More about Ireland call-ups. Still not got to that end of Premier League season yet. That's the one we're really waiting for. And I guess you know the Salford squad as well as me. What do you think's going to happen? How many do you think will sign? How many do you think will pop along? Do you think there will be a busy summer? We've seen him let us down twice. Will he do it again? Who knows? It's the hardest question, isn't it? So we're going to have to wait and see. But Chris Kasper could well be out of a job in a month. That would make it even easier for us. And hopefully that will give us the best opportunity. I'm not really sure whether he's going to be as busy as I hope. I say it every window and then he lets me down, so I'll try my very best with that. But let's skip along, we're nearly there now, and the Premier League season is just about over. Hi to Darren, good to see you popping along. Thanks for getting involved, I do appreciate it. It's going to be a very busy summer here because Chris Kasper's the man in charge. I have no idea whether he's going to give us what we want. He's probably going to go and sign another 4 left-backs because there's one out of contract, and every time we lose one he seems to sign 4. But we'll try our best. David Herbert's got a contract extension. 1 year, certainly nothing to do with me. He's not good enough and I don't know why he's getting one. But 190 quid a week, they're giving the youngsters a chance. Chris Kasper, at least he's done something. It's not always the case with him. But we're nearly there. We're on the end of the Premier League season. I'm really hoping a good job comes up. Because what a way it would be to celebrate if we could have our first live stream, a job change, a Premier League debut and a transfer special up there as well. I've just seen some good news in the ticker. Tom Field signs a 2-year deal. There's the first left-back staying with us. So Tom Field will be here next year. Been a brilliant left-back for us this season. 9 assists in the league. I'm very happy about that one. Good to see some good news from Chris Kasper. He's getting to work. And I've been proven wrong in the playoffs. Both of them are out, Peterborough and Wigan. It's Wimbledon v Walsall in the final. It's just making me look stupid here, isn't it? But either way, no problem with that whatsoever. So well done to them. Hopefully they'll move along. And hopefully we'll be able to celebrate a signing soon. The transfer window opens in about 3 or 4 weeks. We've got to look at jobs in the meantime. So we're at the Monday. There must be some jobs going now. Anyone popped up? Not just yet. The only big one's over in Romania by the looks of it. It's not the sort of job I fancy. CSKA Moscow's a big one coming up potentially. Liverpool, Atletico Madrid, they're far too big. We've got to be realistic. Coventry in the Championship went down in the end. There's not much else there. Insecure jobs, even there's not many in English terms. So it looks like we might be staying put. I think Reading's the only other one there potentially. A little step up if we can make it. So we'll wait and see what happens on that front. But either way, things looking good so far. And hopefully as we go along, we'll be able to get some good signings in. Let me know obviously if there's any problems with the chat and that. It seems to be going okay at the moment. Just a little bit slow with the chat updating. So apologies if I don't answer as quick as normal. But we will get there eventually. It's the first attempt. We're going to iron out all the technical issues. It's something I'd love to do more in the future. I really enjoy interacting live with you guys. And the transfer specials in the head coach, you don't have to do a great deal. You don't have to interact a huge amount. You just sort of sit and wait for Chris Kasper to produce some magic and then pull exasperated faces when he tries to sign yet another left back. Lucas Smith up for England duty. He's one that's going to be leaving the club for sure because he's out of contract at Southampton. He's wanted by some really big Premier League clubs and Championship clubs. We're not competing with them, are we? And I mean, there's another one going as well. I think it was Beresford, the centre-half. I think he's out of contract this year as well. And look who he's wanted by. I mean, it's basically the same clubs. They're top Championship teams or bottom Premier League teams. And we can't compete with that. So Chris Kasper, we'll have to forgive him for those. But he needs to go and get replacements. And that's the bit he hasn't always done before. Chris Kasper's stats, I'll go and have a look at those in a minute to show you. You're doing I'll speak to Darren quickly. You're doing a head coach save with FC United. Good to see. Do the stats mean much? I mean, that's probably the good question, to be honest, because we've had seasons in this series in years gone by where in the National League South and the National League, we've had amateurish director of footballs getting us brilliant signings. I guess the only thing I would say with the stats is they seem to work a bit slower if the stats are poorer. I'm not sure it makes any huge difference to the signings you get, to be honest, because I've always had the quality be fairly consistent. It normally seems to matter more about the mentality stats. So are they determined to go and get signings quickly? Are they adaptable if they're moving from abroad? But in terms of working in the UK, I've not really had any problems. But I will go and show you very quickly what Chris Kasper's stats look like, as we had another youngster poached by Barnsley at 15. So let's bring him up, Chris Kasper. I think they're fairly average if I remember rightly. So Chris Kasper, Director of Football, 10 for ability, 12 for potential. But there's the big one. And this is what I talk about the other stats. 7 for negotiating. So in terms of deals, he's often overpaying. We saw George Grant last summer, nearly £500,000. He is adaptable though, so I'm sure if he went abroad he'd be fine. Determined, motivated, fairly professional. So all of his behind the scenes stats are okay, but that negotiating seems to harm, and he's not the best judge of ability, which is probably why he signed some older boys. And I mean, George Grant at £500,000 was one of our flops this season, so hopefully he won't be repeating that. But of course, Chris Kasper was part of that. I think he was in the class of 92. He was definitely at United, came through in that sort of era. Obviously didn't have quite the same level of success in the end. But either way, Chris Kasper, he's not bad. We've got to give him that. Where are we now? 13th of May. So a couple more weeks. And once the playoffs are over, I'm just hoping there'll be a big championship job come up. To be honest, I know Salford, we've taken them up. It's great. And we should be a bit more loyal than we are being. But we've really got to look after our career. And last time when we came to Salford, it just sort of set us back a year or two. And the last thing I want is that to happen again. There's an interesting one. Sunderland's jobs come up. They finished 18th in the end in League One. What a fall from grace that is. Have they been up at all? They did. They went up and came back down again. But they finished 11th and now 18th. That's starting to look a bit concerning for them. Otherwise, yeah, not a great deal to be said. It's looking okay at the moment. So I'm not going to complain about that one. Andrew Green, you have a lovely face. Thank you very much, mate. I'm sure you're being sarcastic, but I haven't had a shave either, as you can see. But thank you very much for popping along, mate. I do appreciate it. Hopefully, once we get to this transfer window, I'm just begging that Chris Kasper gets to work, because I can't take another quiet one. I've given him so many opportunities on his channel to become a star, and he's turned them down at every opportunity so far. I could almost do a Lewis Hono. I've got a Dorkin in the other save. He isn't in charge of the transfers there, but he does pop up with some brilliant offers. And in this one, Chris Kasper, not quite the same. What I will say is he's probably the worst director of football I've had. I've got to be honest with that. Craig, have I thought of taking over a local side? Yes, I have. I've actually done a trial run for something I might want to try in FM21. And it's a club very local to me. In fact, my most local one, which is Crawley Green FC. About a 15-minute walk from my house to their social club. Obviously, we have no idea what will happen with FM21 now, particularly with the pandemic and the outbreak. I hope you're all staying safe and isolated at this time. Even getting a garden. It's beautiful weather later on. Greenie takes Sunderland up. Yeah, ideally, mate, to be honest, I wouldn't mind it. But we've got to be realistic. And they're in the bottom half of League One and we're going to be in the Championship. So I've got to be fair. I don't want to be making moves that wouldn't be realistic. But if they offer me 5 times the amount of money, then potentially is that the case? I have to say, yes, that's realistic. I'll take the offer. What would you do in real life? That's the question. So would I leave Salford to go down a division to Sunderland? I don't know. It's a very volatile job. It's a very difficult job. The fans are excellent. The stadium's excellent. The people are lovely. But it's a tough job. And you've got to think about job security as well. And it looks like they're looking at Simon Grayson again. So I might be talked out of that one. Now, I'm going to have a look at this media report because we're linked with Tottenham's Jamie Higgins for 675 grand. And there's one down there for Tom Scully as well. I'm sure we had him at Barnsley last year in the head coach. But Jamie Higgins, let's see if our director of football's interested in him. He's a very good player. What's the wanted? It doesn't say we are, but I would take that signing. He's very, very good. So let's just cross our fingers with that one. We'll also have the FA Cup final and that, so we'll go and have a look at the reviews, see who won all the big competitions in England as well. Plenty of things to do there. But thank you again to everyone getting involved in the chat. I'll probably answer your questions more on the mic than I will on the live chat itself, just to make sure we keep things rolling over. As you probably imagined, I'm not very good at this in the first time. I'm a Geordie. If you take over Sunderland, you're dead to me. Cheers, Darren. I can't imagine I will be doing that, to be honest. As we said, it's probably not the most realistic move. So I will try my best to steer clear. But if they offer me 3 or 4 times the amount of money, I will have to think about it. But with the Ireland reputation, I've not got to worry so much. Don't forget Ireland paying me nearly 20 grand a week. So money maybe not just the only object at this point. But thank you to all the new people popping along. I can see the number of viewers creeping up. So thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you won't be too Too disappointed by Chris Kasper. He won't underwhelm us. Let's see, we've avoided a tax hit. All the financial stuff's looking good. So he should have no excuse. The new scouting budget's gone up. We've not got a youth package. Chris Kasper's in charge of that as well. Do you see what the transfer budget is? That must have come out. Did I just miss the message? Let me know in the comments in the chat if I did. Let's see. Oh, we've got £4.5 million. There's not too much on the wage bill, but that's massive. £4.5 million. We've still got that stupid 33-year-old joining who's not going to be able to help us at all. But 45 grand and £4.5 million to spend. I mean, he's got no excuses, has he? He cannot say a word if he gets this wrong. Andrew Green, okay, mate, yeah, sorry. I can't take Sunderland up. I just can't do it. It's got to be realistic. I know that he's a big fan of the North East, Andrew, but we can't be doing that on this occasion. Let's see how we're getting on. The FA Cup final should be soon. See the last game of the Premier League season. We've got the saving every 3 or 4 weeks, so that will just scroll through as we go along. But let's have a look at how we're getting on. Got the ICC Cricket World Cup drink from 2019, back when we were allowed to go outside and life was easy and we were enjoying, I think it was Afghanistan v West Indies that day. Tom will tell you in the comments I was there with him, so those were when it was an easier time. Thank you to all the new people popping along still, I do appreciate it. Anything you want to ask, just let me know. So I've got a couple of random questions here. Do you think Chris Kasper will sign Simon Sluga? So there's someone who knows I'm a Luton Town fan. I don't think he will, but just in case for you, once this is saved, I will go and have a look at Simon Sluga for you, just to make sure that he's not going to be coming. I think he went to Preston. It might be this save, or maybe I'm mixed up with Dorking, but I think he did go to Preston. Obviously had a pretty dodgy start to the season with Luton in real life. I think he made 10 errors directly leading to goals, but as it is since then, he's not been too bad, so I wouldn't be devastated. His stats in game are pretty good, but our goalkeeper Horgard's solid. We've got a youngster behind him. I don't think we need to get too worried about that. But that's going to be Chris Kasper choosing, not us. What's your favourite biscuit? Tough one, mate. If you want to go on the cheap ones that I grew up on, it's got to be the Bourbons. But I'm a big fan of the jam creams that you get in the family circle. So that'll be my number one, as we drift very, very slowly off topic. But if you want to ask anything, absolutely go for it. I will try my best. Simon Sluga, as we mentioned, he's 33 now. He's at Zurich. Got a very good defensive record there. Still only the one Croatia cap. He's probably about similar to Horgard, to be honest, but he is starting to drop physically, so probably not the best signing. But I was right, yeah, he did play for Preston 3 seasons, Luton for 3 before that. He's a decent keeper. We certainly won't complain, just probably not a priority. It wouldn't be for me anyway, but Chris Kasper, I'm sure, may decide otherwise. Here we go then, 19th of May. There's got to be some jobs by now, surely. Let's have a look. Job security. Any jobs going? So we've got the Moscows. We could be causing some trouble there. Whichever one we go to, the other one's going to hate us immediately. I've got to apply for CSK and Moscow. There's nothing to say we can't go abroad. And they're a massive club. We'd love to go there. It'd be absolutely brilliant. CSK and Moscow, the one we're going to apply for. Otherwise, we'll just look forward to the season. Andrew, you're happy with a biscuit choice, are you? Good lad. Appreciate that. Let's have a look. We're going to apply for the CSK and Moscow job. And we're just going to keep skipping ahead. If someone like Sunderland and that, I know we said we're not going to apply because it's not realistic for us. But if they come in for us and offer us big money, we'll consider the offer. We're not saying we're going to reject any offers that come. We've got a little message here about declaring interest, probably just because we applied for CSKA. We're flying through May now. Things are looking pretty handy. And I'm hoping Chris Kasper's going to get his time to shine soon. Of course, let me know down in the comments as we're going along. Anything you want to know, any questions. Thank you to everyone who's joining us. I'll try my best to look at the camera. I'm not very good at being coordinated here. But as we go along, we're hoping we'll just be able to creep in a few signings. The end of the season's now. We'll go and have a look at who's won all the competitions. O'Hare should be getting an Island recall. I keep getting shouted at for the people I've picked. And we've got Walsall Wimbledon as well. The final of the playoffs in League One. He'll be joining us in the Championship. It looks pretty sure with the lack of jobs available that we may still be here at Salford. So we're going to be relying on Chris Kasper. And hopefully he won't let me down again. Atlanta, yes, Andrew, I spotted that as well. Precarious job. We've got to go and have a look. If it does pop up, I'll be applying for Atlanta. It was almost the same I did a short-term one with in FM20 because they were first Champions League appearance, obviously. They were flying, they were doing really well. Obviously, the pandemic's had a bit of an effect on them, but they were a really brilliant side. I'd love to manage them. in the 7-8 years we've been playing along here, but fingers crossed they'll still be a decent side. Let me just get on the chat on here so I can say hello to you. There we go. So, we're a week to the playoff final. They're a bit later than normal. They're not normally as late as the 30th, are they? I thought they were at the week at the start there. Normally before the bank holiday Monday, but either way, as long as we get there eventually, we don't mind too much. Mr. McGinney Esther, great name, hello, thank you for that. Microphone a bit dodgy. I think unfortunately it's the problems with Virgin and Sky Wi-Fi causing a few slight delays for us, but we'll try and keep on top of it. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me all right. As we scroll through, any odd bits that you don't hear, ask me to repeat them. I'll make sure I do. But thank you to all of you who are commenting so far. I do appreciate you coming along to watch my boxy little show on a Sunday afternoon, so thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Here's the FA Cup final then. United Liverpool. Big game. I don't know who's going to win it. It's United. Mason Greenwood still there scoring for them. Is that Harry Kane? It's Harry Kane at Liverpool at 32. He's played there for quite a while. Not been scoring so many, but that's a bit of a surprise. But Manchester United win the FA Cup. Don't know if they won it last year. Should we go and have a look? Who won before? City won it last year. Bournemouth the year before. Don't forget, when we get to season 10, we do our sort of view and catch back of the footballing world, which I may well do a live stream for as well. But United, the champions, Stourbridge overachievers, City struggling this year. But either way, United still on top of the footballing world, always seem to do very well in this series. Nearly at the end of May now. Chris Kasper's going to get his chance soon. I'm really hoping he'll be able to do something. I can't actually explain. I get very nervous when I'm watching a Chris Kasper window. Get in Mason Greenwood, says Craig. Is a United fan, of course. Mason Greenwood's a very good player in this game. He was actually a hero for us in FM20. I don't know if you remember. Those who were following back in the Newcastle days, we had a brilliant time with him there. He came in, I think he played off the left wing quite a bit, if I remember rightly. And he just became a top quality striker. I'm keeping an eye out for the jobs. I will be doing this every few days or so. Marseille's popped up. We're getting some jobs now. Liverpool's there, but that's too big. We're not going to be silly. Braga, Boa Vista. That one's a tough one to decide on. Boa Vista, when I was growing up, they were a big club. They were playing in the UEFA Cup. And now, they've just sort of had mid-table mediocrity. So should we look at their key player? Gustavo Coutinho. He's probably not as good as some of the Salford centre-halves. So that's a bit of a worry. I think that's pushing it then. I've got to take sentiment out of this. Atalanta is still there as possibly coming up, same as Bilbao. I think they're just a step too high for us at the minute. Are there any English ones that potentially pop up? Doesn't look like it actually. No real English jobs there. A couple of international ones, but we've got a decent club already. We're at Ireland, obviously. One that's got a little bit of a heart value to us, but either way, hopefully, we'll be able to get a job offer soon. I wouldn't mind Marseille, a little trip over to France. I'm sure a few of you would like that, quite exotic. I know the English ones always tend to be the favourites, but when you get a big job like that, you can't say no. Braga are a good side. I'm sure Andrew will get down in the comments when he sees that, because he had a very famous day there with Rangers. I think he went to the Rangers-Braga game in the Europa League, so he'll probably have enjoyed that. But we're going along. The job offers haven't been immediately rejected. That has happened before, so that's probably a good sign. I'm just waiting for June, really, to see if Chris Kasper can give us some some normal duties, some transfers coming in. I'm all over the place here. Hopefully Chris Kasper will get some players in. What I'd really like to see is him preparing now, because we've got quite a few players out of contract, quite a few whose loans are ending, and he's not doing anything. And that's the thing that's worrying me. Why is he not doing anything? We need some players. Well, he's not even trying to keep the players who are on loan. That's the thing I don't understand. I mean, if I go and show you the contract screen quickly, Robbie Porter, Paul Beresford, Archie Dixon, Charlie Reynolds, and Lucas Smith. And 3 of those aren't out of contract at their club, so why is he not trying to keep them? I don't understand. We will try and manipulate it a bit by putting players who are out of contract in the under-23s. So, for example, Tunji and Akinola, I think that is. He's been a backup player, has not really played much. He's out of contract, he's not going to make it in the Championship. So let's just drop him down. We're going to put him in the 23s, make it clear that he's not wanted. Ben Sibley, his loan expires at the end of the season. We don't really want him to be one of our loan spots. So let's get him in the 23s. So people ask, how do we manipulate the director of football? Get him to sign players. How do we get him to get rid of players that we want to go? Well, this is sort of the way. And I'm going to do that with George Grant, or is that going to cause more trouble? I don't know. Kyle John, Adam Randell, we can do that for them. I just need to try and bolster the squad. Who else is out of contract? Bailey Clements, Zach Brown. He's unhappy, so he's not going to stay regardless. They're the only other two. So let's put them in the under 23s. That leaves us with a 19-man squad. And hopefully, that'll give Chris Kasper the message that you need to go and do some work. Here we go then, we're getting there now. Plymouth beat Notts County in the League 2 playoff final, I presume that is. That one been played a week earlier. I can't imagine it would have been anything else. So if we do end up at Sunderland for some reason, Plymouth will be there. Bayern Munich winning top goal scorer. I mean, we're getting all the messages we expect. And one of the things I would say actually is this series, compared to Dorking and ones with FM19 and 18, probably had the least change at the top of the footballing world. It's really not changed at all, the landscape. It's all the same sides. I know it's only 8 years or 7 years. It's probably not expected just yet. I'm getting told to put them all back in the first team, them youngsters. But I'm not going to listen. I want you to sign people. Look, you're scouting people. You're finding people. The chief scout's doing his bit. Glenn Botterill, his stats are all right. He's doing his best. Go and help him out, Chris Kasper. Give him some players. You've got loads of money. He's probably just waiting for this George Williams to sign so he can say he's been doing loads of work. But that's been agreed for months. So hopefully he'll get involved with that. But who knows at this point. Thank you to all of you who continue to pop along. Thanks to those who continue to leave message down in the comments as well. I do appreciate it greatly. I'm just getting involved. I'm messaging back on the chat on the phone occasionally as well. So if I do look down, that's the reason why. But thank you all of you who are watching. I do appreciate it. Let's have a look. We're nearly at the end of May now. We're getting towards that transfer window time. And Chris Kasper is going to get an absolute caning if he doesn't start signing people. And actually, on that subject, we haven't seen any sort of news about him getting a contract. We've got a couple of staff out of contract this summer, and Chris Kasper being the chief one. And I know I've not really been his biggest fan, but I do worry if we have a change of director of football midway through the window, that can't be a good thing, can it? Because it's surely going to cause some disruption, some delays to deals. But then if Chris Kasper's doing nothing, is it a risk worth taking? It's not a decision we're going to make, but our chairman surely will. I think it's still John Radford, the man who's at Mansfield in real life. John and Caroline Radford. John Radford's now our owner here. Gary Neville was managing a League One side against Salford. So lots of bizarre things going on in this save. Considering we're only 7 years in, the lower levels are a bit bizarre. The top of the league's still exactly the same as before, but at the bottom it's very, very similar. So let's go along. Loads of finals being played. You can see how many leagues we've got loaded here, so we might go through and get rid of some of them actually, just because we shouldn't be forced to go and work in certain tiers now, so I'm hoping we'll be able to avoid that. And in fact, let's go and do that. Add and remove leagues. Shout at me in the comments and in the chat if there's any leagues that you think we should be leaving in that I take out. I just want to get rid of a few. So South America I want to keep in because I'd like to go there in the future. Wales I try to keep the local ones in, but I think that's sort of lower tier. So the Indian National Football League, I think we'll get rid of that because there's not really any big ones going there. Israel perhaps. Can't imagine us getting a massive job at that level. So all of those lower ones. So Israel, we looked at Romania, Poland. We're just going to try and streamline it a bit. Serbia. I'll leave Turkey because Galatasaray, Fenerbahce, there's some big clubs up there. The MLS, again, one we potentially like to retire into. Russia's a fairly big league. The Czech League, what have we got? Sparta and Slavia Prague. Realistically, we're probably not going to go there. Denmark, Austria. I was just looking at Salzburg, but none of them players are going to be there now. I'm going to leave the A-League because I've got quite a fan of that watching it recently. Bulgaria can go as well. That's not one we're going to join. Just try and streamline it down a bit. So we'll confirm those changes. Let's crack ahead. And hopefully, with just 10 days to the window to go, Chris Kasper might actually be doing some work. He's got a month till those contracts and loans expire. I just need some help. And I mean, Mr. McGinniester, you're absolutely spot on. League One to the Championship, definitely the hardest jump to make, so I'm not going to argue with you there. But it could well go wrong. It could well go wrong. You don't need to keep telling me that. I'm pretty sure it will do. But either way, I'm sure we'll get there eventually. I'm just going to pop up the audio settings because I can see that a few of you have said the mic's dropping out occasionally, so I've just chucked them up slightly, sorry. So hopefully they will improve. Jess, talking about Craig and Charlie from the podcast, they are popping over for a series actually. So Craig's doing a network series with me this week. All three of us over on the podcast channel are doing a network series from FM20. We're managing 2 League One clubs. The first episode from that is tonight. So I'm going head to head against Craig and Charlie. Craig didn't want to go alone after getting beaten in our fantasy draft tie. So those two be me. Those are the three. So we'll see what happens there. I'm not going to reveal the clubs or anything, but pop over there at 7 tonight and there'll be an FM video there for you to view. Craig and Charlie, plenty to say in that one. And loads of videos as well. We've got an Iron Curtain achievement achievement in Steam, you won't be able to see that. But obviously the best defensive record in the league. And we're into June now, so Chris Kasper should really be giving us some entertainment at this point. Mr. McGinnis asked Barnsley and Rotherham fans about to step up. You can ask me as well as a Luton fan. We found it just as bad this season. Thank you to all the new people popping along. Do appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely spot on. The League One, the Championship, it's a massive jump. It's probably the same, maybe as National League South to National League, although we didn't make that look hard with Dorking. But I think probably the Championship is the hardest league to get out of, both in this series and in real life, because it's such a tough one. And the sides, when you go and watch, so Luton, I'm a season ticket holder, and you watch the difference between the League One sides coming, setting up defensively for a point, and then you go to the Championship and they're just playing rings around you, playing triangles. It's so easy to watch, and you just feel like you're watching a different standard. Not to mention the fact that you go into better stadiums, which does help, to be fair. And on that subject, I guess I will do a quick shameless plug for later on at 4:30 rather than the FM video, because we're doing a stream today. We've got the start of our stadium series. So myself and Tommy, you saw in the chat right at the start of this video, we are doing a review of all of the stadiums we've been to. We're both trying to do the 92, which has been heavily disrupted in the last few weeks, of course. So instead of that void where we've gone to the train station, we're taking the trips across the country. We're just going to talk about it on camera instead. So the usual small talk. Hopefully it'll just feel like you're down a pub with your mates. I only hope we can give you a bit of light relief at this time. Ben Close wins Player of the Year for League One. I don't think that's any surprise, is it? So well done, it's been a good year for him. He's happy enough. Connor Chapman and Lucas Smith, second and third top scorer behind Cotton. Only because he played less games, they all got the same amount of goals. Archie Dixon got goal of the season. Fair play to him. We got Manager of the Year. That should boost our reputation a little bit. Radford's pleased with our award. It is still John Radford. Well done to him. 8 players in our 11. No problems with that. I mean, that's harsh on Lucas Smith. Oh, he's out on the right. Sorry, I was going to say that's harsh on him. Who else is missing? Ben Close isn't in there. He got Player of the Year in the league and he's not there in central midfield. Oh, someone please explain how that makes sense to me. Ireland players in action. We're not going to worry about that for now. We've got the 4 players out of contract there. Staff. Chris Kasper's still out of contract. So 4 have been offered. Carlo Nash among them. He's the most important one. Big name. I'd quite like to keep Asa Hall, obviously a bit of a Luton legend. But Chris Kasper's not getting a deal. This could put a spanner in the works for our summer. Let's go and have a quick look at the job centre again. Any more that are about? In England, Liverpool's the only one, and it's just too big a job for us. Cagliari, 15th in Serie A. That's a perfect sort of job. Perfect step up for us. Anywhere else? Marseille still applied. Nothing happening there. Anyone else? Napoli's too big. Can't be going for that one, to be honest. And we're not going over to the MLS this early in our career. So those are the jobs we're applying for now. And fingers crossed, we've only got 8 days to go now to the window. I'm sure Chris Kasper will be getting busy. We'll probably start in June next time. I was going to do it on this occasion, to be honest. But the main reason is I was looking for the job hunt and I thought we might as well turn it into a job search as well. Show you the process we go through. But it doesn't seem like there's many jobs in that sort of area. Normally you'd have the relegated Premier League clubs or Championship clubs that struggled during the season. And it's just not happened this time. Trust it to be this summer where the league jobs pop up. Carlo Ancelotti linked with Liverpool. Surely that's controversial. He's the Everton manager. He can't be doing that. But either way, we'll see what happens. Thank you to those who are still popping along. I do appreciate it. I know there's a couple of minor technical issues, all the major ones resolved, but I do thank you for coming along. Just get involved down in the comments. Any questions you want to know, whether it be about content, the channel, me, Luton Town, my football club, anything you want to know, we'll go through. Because Chris Kasper, it doesn't look like he's going to be giving us the entertainment we were hoping for. And it's the 3rd chance he's had to shine, and it's the 3rd chance for him to disappoint us, which it looks like he's very intent on doing. So thanks, Chris Kasper. Appreciate you making my stream nice and easy. Could have been having lots of drinks, Blake, looking at his brilliant players that he's signing, and instead, we're sitting here hoping he'll do something. We've got Williams joining, obviously Reynolds loan ends then as well, and he's not taking any action to keeping him. He's a fantastic player, so why is he not doing it? He's really starting to frustrate me, to be honest. Cagliari job applications received. The window opens next week. Please, Chris Kasper, get to work, will you? I need something to be done. But we're going through to June now. I mean, we'll talk about Ireland a bit as we go along as well. There's plenty to be enjoyed with them, although we've got a tough Nations League group. Still struggling for the spine of the squad. I'm still trying to take those 2 or 3 stars over to come and play for us, but they all want stick around and hope they get a chance for England or Scotland. The finances aren't looking good at the club, so I've no idea where they're getting £4.5 million from, unless the TV revenue's coming in soon. B plus for job performance? That seems a bit harsh. We did win the league with 106 points, was it? Sure it was. AFC Wimbledon promoted. 106 points, 17 clear of Ipswich, and we're not even getting an A for our manager performance. Maybe it's just because we're applying for other jobs, I don't know. It seems a bit bizarre though, it seems a little bit harsh. Just tell me if I'm being arrogant, maybe I'm being wrong here, but for me it seems a little bit harsh that that's the case. Interesting. Chris Kasper, no messages again. We're just about to pop back on the 2nd of June, and he's doing nothing. I don't understand why. Let me just respond to a couple of you in the chat while we're going. Make sure that you know. Thank you all of you who are putting the comments in and having a chat. I do appreciate it. I hope you're enjoying it and that there aren't too many technical issues. Looks like it's not too bad, just a couple of little occasions the mic's dropped slightly. We'll try and sort them out for the next time. But unfortunately, I don't have the big fancy gaming machines. I've only got a standard PC desktop and a free encryption OBS studio, so I can't be working with the highest level of technology here. Right, we've got some offers. These are all staff that are staying on, I think. So we've got Knight as a scout, Barker's the assistant manager. Richie Barker, he has got decent stats. He'll be staying with us. And then Botterill, the chief scout, who we looked at a minute ago. But there's nothing happening on the transfer front. I'm just hoping we get to the 9th of June and it will all click like that. But I can't see it happening because we've been let down before. The only thing that can really save us at this point is one of them job offers cropping up. But it doesn't look like we're getting any interviews yet. Like, having said that, we haven't been rejected for any of them that I can see. I may well be proven wrong in a minute, but we're into June now. There's no real English jobs coming up. Crawley, Sunderland, no. So I don't think we're going to get an English job. Unless Liverpool take a punt on a low Premier League manager, I don't know who else we're going to be able to go for. Bologna's popped up. Atalanta has popped up now. So Andrew, you mentioned that earlier. There it is. Atalanta's job is available and we're going to apply for it. They finished 11th in Serie A. So probably not the best finish in their history. How have they been doing before that? Oh, they've always been a top half club, so they'd definitely be a good one to manage. Theo Segura as their key player. Wow. We ain't getting that job, are we? That's a bit too much of a step up for us. So we'll wait and see on that one, but I don't think we'll be getting that job. See, Joe, you say that. The director of football doesn't do any transfers till the window opens. So that I agree with in terms of new ones. But contracts for players who are out of contracts, obviously, most of the ones that are left probably wouldn't be first choice, so I can get that. But a couple of years before the loan deals, so the ones who are out of contract when the transfer window opens, so Charlie Reynolds goes back to Leicester on the 9th of June. We've had a couple of points where they've been extended before. And that's the sort of thing I'm looking for, just so we don't lose some of the stars. But in terms of new transfers, we've got 5 days until things start to explode, hopefully. So there you go, Charlie Reynolds leaving shortly. Nothing happening. Is he wanted? This is normally the hint we can get. Is he wanted by anyone? Not even us. That's the concern. The fact that he's not even wanted is a bit of a worry for me. The fact that the scout reports are coming in, there's not a great deal of quality there. They're all players with high potential. I'm a little bit worried about what he might do. If there's any screens that you want to see going along throughout the window, then let us know. I'll go and show you whichever screens we need to. But I'm a little bit concerned about where we are at the moment. As soon as Chris Kasper should really be coming to life because we've been doing a lot of prep. We've got a good scouting team in. But I've been here before and I can tell you Chris Kasper doesn't work that way. And he's probably packing up his desk rather than actually looking for transfers at the minute. Because he's got 3 weeks to go and I think he's not going to get a new contract. And if that's the case, he's probably waiting to see who's going to replace him. But either way, we'll find out in 4 days. If he does some magic in the first 2 weeks, we might even be able to keep him. And he signs a new deal up there. He's someone we had in earlier on in this series, isn't he? So Andy Cook, was he the central midfielder? I'm sure I remember him scoring one absolutely brilliant goal for us. And that's something we will do in the stream as well as we go along. Just go and look at the 3 or 4 clubs we've managed before, see how they've been getting on. So we've got, who do we start with? So long ago, Kettering. We've got Halifax briefly. We've then got Scunthorpe and Charlton. So we'll go and have a look to see how those 4 have done this year. Because it's always nice to keep up with the older clubs. If there's any questions or any screens you want to see from those teams, from bits that you remember earlier in the series, any players from those clubs, then let me know. Hopefully I'll get through as many of them as possible. But otherwise, thank you to everyone who continues to follow along. I hope you're enjoying the first live stream. Apologies, it's probably a bit all over the place. I'm sure we'll gradually get better at it as we go along. But we're just 2 days away now, so it should be live time for Chris Kasper. And he should be hoping, he should be working harder than ever really actually, because he should be trying to save his job. It doesn't look like anyone else was interested in him, so he's got 3 weeks to keep himself employed. Let's see if he wants to take advantage of it. So one message in the inbox, again it's the island players. So let's go and have a look at the former clubs. So we've got Halifax, who we managed second. Would help if we spelled their name right. They're back in the National League. They finished in the playoffs. Did they get promoted? No, they didn't get to the final either. What did they do in the semis then? They weren't in the semis, so they lost in the quarters. They lost to Solihull, who finished below them. So not great from them. We had Kettering first. How are they getting on? 19th in the National League, so they've managed to stay there since. That's good to see actually. So obviously it was the 3rd season. We had them in the playoffs and they ended up getting promoted. They've stayed there ever since, although just above the dotted line this season. 19th place they finished in, 3 points clear. Yeah, it's not going to last long, is it? And then let's have a look at the other ones. So we had Charlton and we had Scunthorpe. Scunthorpe, we've seen contracts, but we haven't really seen what's been going on. So let's have a look. 17th in League One. They've still got a few of them players as you'd expect. And then Charlton, who sacked us 2 months after getting to the Championship playoffs, they finished 16th. Interesting. So last season they finished 19th after sacking me in 12th near the start of the season. And this season they finished 16th. So it seems like they might have made the wrong decision there, doesn't it? Don't want to be arrogant, but perhaps they did. Thank you to those of you who are liking the video. If you are enjoying it, please do put a thumbs up on it. I hope you're enjoying hanging out. Thank you for those of you coming along for the first stream. I really do appreciate it. I didn't expect to have quite a few of you watching, so I am very grateful. We've got a new physio, have we? Accrington will due 40. So, Chris Kasper's doing something. He's got me a new physio, Paul Catton. Wow. That might be, on or off the pitch, the best signing he's ever made. 20 for physiotherapy. We're going to need it because whoever we do get will need to keep fit. Fair play, Chris Kasper. He's working hard to save his job. Now, in 2 days' time, can you do the same on the players' front? That's the main question I'm going to be asking you because we are desperate at this point. Only 1 day to go. We've got to be excited. Please, please. I'm getting so excited now. He's got to do something. And he's almost given me the false hope. This is the problem with Chris Kasper. He's given me this false hope. I'm going to get a great physio in, so now I can do it with the players. And it's probably not going to translate at all. We've got this Williams joining who's going to have to go straight in the 23s because I said in January I don't know why he signed him, and that's when we were a League One club. Now we're a Championship team with a 33-year-old backup fullback. I mean, he's versatile, but he's emergency use at very best in terms of ability. We should find out what he looks like tomorrow. Lucas Smith playing for England under 20s. That shows you why we're scoring over 20 goals at this level. What a player he is. He's probably the best player I've had in either save so far, I would say. Although Reynolds would probably argue with that. He's a very good player, but hasn't played so well since he came here. Had a bit of a dodgy 4 months. Right. This is the moment we were here for. The transfer window is open. Players have been linked with £5 to £8 million moves. I mean, what can you do with that? Is there anyone linked with us here? Can't see it. Anyone in the Championship? Can't see that either. Please don't disappoint me, Chris Kasper. We'll meet George Williams in a minute. Jess, I made a huge mistake. I didn't leave Charlton, don't forget. I would love to have stayed. I know I was complaining about it at the end, but I didn't leave Charlton. Charlton sacked me. So I finished in the playoffs, lost in the semi-final. We had a bit of a dodgy end to the season. So that was after taking over in 14th, just before Christmas. Then we got towards the end of the season, we got to the playoffs. Selmaze was an absolute superstar, but unfortunately we weren't able to get anything else done. We'll go and meet Williams in a minute, sorry. But then the start of the next season with Charlton, we had a few injuries, we had a bit of a dodgy start. I think we were about 13th or 14th. So I think once we got to there, they just gave up on us in September, October, which is why it was difficult. Let's have a look. Is it my device? Was the audio a bit choppy? Let's have a look. So I'm on my normal mic, I'm on my normal settings, but I'll have a little go, see if I can update it a bit more. Bear with me. Tell me if it improves as we go along, because obviously this is a little bit new for me, so. There we go. So I've tried to update it a little bit. Tell me if it makes any difference. I'm not really sure if it will. So bear with me on that one. But thank you for coming along. I do appreciate it for both of you. Thanks for joining along as the transfer window opens. So Jason Blunt has signed a new contract. Who was he? He is the under-18 manager. Good stats as well. Working with youngsters, motivating, determination. Very happy with that. Wow. Wow, we've got some movement. Chris Kasper is shutting me up quickly here. 500 grand for Wesley Hurts. He's a player we recognise. I probably pronounced that horrendously. Southampton in real life, is it? Sure it was. It is. What a player. He's 32. He's just starting to decline physically. But you have to assume that's his replacement for Beresford. £500,000. And he's even said it's a potential replacement. So fair enough. He's on 20 grand a week. So what sort of money is he going to be offering? He's not going to throw all the wages on one player, is he? I'm not going to an interview for George Williams. We will look at him quickly. 2-star ability, 2-star potential. He's rubbish. He's absolutely rubbish. Why on earth is he here? What made him think that was a good idea? I'm just going to put him straight in the 23s because he's not going to feature for us. And we need to let him know that that's not acceptable. We can't have him as a first choice player. And we need that to be replaced. We can't have George Williams. I know it's lots of players and I know it's lots of changes, but if one sign is not good enough, the next one's not. In terms of the mic cable, it's exactly the same as normal. I'm not quite sure what's behind. I've updated the settings again now. Just let me know if it changes as we go along. Let's have a look. Thank you to those of you who are popping along and joining in. I do appreciate it. Let's have a look. We've got more transfer work going on as well there in the background. Let's see. Right, bear with me. Let me just plug the mic. Right, we're back in with the mic. We've updated the settings again. Let us know if it makes any difference. If it keeps cutting out, we'll change it up a little bit. But let's see if Wesley Hurts got any damage. We've had a bid rejected for Charlie Savage. That's an interesting one. Not someone we were looking to sell. Probably looking to loan him out, if anything. Oh, he's on the transfer list. He's been rejected anyway. 75 grand, not been accepted. Wesley Hurt, 6 grand a week. He's not going to accept that, is he? Anyone hands up think he's going to accept 6 grand a week? Because I certainly can't see it happening. But either way, we've got pressure on him. There's other clubs that want him as well. Who is it? Wow, clubs from all over the place. We're definitely the smallest reputation club out of that lot. So we'll wait and see. Oh, better now. Fabulous. Thank you for your help with that. I appreciate it. Glad that it's working better for you. These are the little issues. The first time. Yippee, me too, mate. First stream, the last thing we want is technical issues. So I'm glad you can hear me all right. Wesley Hurt is a man who should be coming in, but he won't be because he's going to reject us for someone else. And Charlie Savage, will he be off? We'll wait and see. But only 2 days into the transfer window, to be fair. I've got to give Chris Kasper his dues here. There's that dreamy voice. Cheers, Greenie. Oh, jeez. Sunday afternoon, we're all getting sick of the lockdown, aren't we? Let's have a look. Right, there's got to be some movement as there. This is one other thing, actually. I really wanted to mention this. And if any of you have done a series similar to this, I know Darren mentioned earlier that he was. Let me know if you've had the same thing. I don't think I've ever seen my director of football working on more than 1 in and 1 out transfer at a time. So as soon as he's working on one to try and sign, say, Wesley Hurt, as it is now, for example, he then won't work on another deal. Whereas us, if we were managing a club, we'd put in 3, 4, 5 bids. If you see a real club in transfer deadline day, they'll put in 2, 3, 4 at a time. They'll have a chairman, they'll have a managing director, they'll have a chief scout. They'll all be working on different deals. Whereas here, it just seems like there can only be one person and it has to be one deal. But if you've got a big club and you've got a director of football, a technical director, a loan manager or whatever else, why can't they all be working on different deals at the same time? That's one thing that's always got to me. Charlie Savage, what a name. The Honest Football Podcast will agree with that. They're the other 2 co-hosts. Charlie Betts, Craig Savage. We've combined them. We might call that the new series, actually. Shane Dren, thank you much for coming along. Do appreciate it. Glad you can hear me all right now as well. Jam on to West Brom fan in the house. I don't know if that job will come up. That's one I wouldn't mind having this summer. That'd be a nice little step up from Salford. But I'm not sure that they're going to be sacking their manager anytime soon. But anyway, if you want your club to sack their manager and get me, let them know, because I'd very much like one at this point. Although Kasper might be giving me the tools to compete here. I know it's only a like-for-like replacement for Beresford. It's probably not improving the squad, but it's certainly better than I was expecting at this point. I would love it if he'd keep one of them loanies, but it doesn't look like it. I mean, Archie Dixon would be the obvious name. We're not going to subscribe to any of those because that will make the game a bit slower. Any more jobs cropping up? We've not been rejected for any of these clubs. We've not had interviews. I'm starting to get a bit worried because it's been about 3 weeks now and nothing's happened. There's still no English jobs, just Liverpool and then Accrington. So Liverpool's going to be out of our depth, as is Napoli. And there's not really any others. Bilbao's just become available, but again, it's probably too big a club for us. So I think if we go to our profile, and for some reason this is the slowest screen to load in FM at all times, we've got nowhere near a 4-star reputation. So that's probably why we're a bit behind there. Is Charlie related to Craig? Not in real life, no. In this game, apparently so. Charlie Savage of Salford City. Is he related to Craig Savage? I can see Craig's just popped along, so he can let me know. Darren, yeah, exactly the same. The exception is staff. You're absolutely right. They'll bid for as many staff members as they want at once. They'll have 3, 4, 5 on the go at the same time. But players, I've never seen them make more than one bid at once. On deadline day, they still get through 3 or 4. In fact, actually, our reputation's up to nearly 3 stars. Sorry, I've just got sidetracked there. But yeah, on deadline day, you'll see the managers, the director of football, sorry, they'll still go every 15 minutes. They'll do a deal and then they'll start a new one. But you would think the more realistic way would be that's happening 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 at the same time, but just doesn't seem to be replicated for some reason. But as you say, it's something that gets done with staff, so that's always been something that surprised me. Craig, another decent player like me called Savage, not Robbie Savage. Can't argue with it. Welsh International Premier League player. Not the cleanest player in the world, but certainly a decent one. And I know you love him even more as a commentator. Wimbledon got promoted. Yes, they did. I'm guessing you weren't here when I said there's no chance they're going to win the semi-final, and then they went and did it. So we will be joined by Wimbledon in the Championship next year. Atletico Bilbao job application, not been rejected yet. Our 20-year-old keeper, his potential's gone down significantly, but he's left his agent. No idea why. Played the last few games of the season, kept 4 clean sheets in 5. You've got to be fair to him. But otherwise, we're just waiting for this Wesley Hurt deal, and if that takes ages, it basically keeps us out of action for 1 or 2 weeks. But thank you to all of you coming along and all of you that are making your comments. It's great to have the interaction in the chat. It's the main reason I've done this, to be honest, because I get to reply in the comments, but I don't really get to have that connection. So it's great to be able to do so. I'm glad all the mic issues seem to be sorted now. And we're getting to the busy part now, so this is when it needs to be working. So I'll take my last sip of drink. Cricket World Cup. Hopefully we'll have some cricket this summer. We were trying to get tickets, but I don't think there's going to be any events on now, so looks like there'll be a summer without cricket here. I think it was the 100 we were going to go for, but that might be the only tournament they play now. Mid-June. I'm a bit worried that this one, the Wesley Hurt deal's taking a while. But secondly, as well as that, the fact that these job offers are lingering around for a while does worry me, because surely we will have been rejected for some by now, or at least got an interview or whatever. I will go and turn this saving off after so it changes to a month. Let me just go and reply to some of your comments down here as well. Thank you to all of you getting involved. I do appreciate it greatly. I hope you're enjoying the stream, my first ever attempt. And as I'd say afterwards, taking away the technical issues which we'll sort as we go on. In terms of the stream, what things would you like to see in streams in future? I guess the main reason I picked this series is because in the summer we don't have to do a great deal. So when we don't have to make the transfers, we can just sort of talk, get involved. But once we go along and we start playing in Dorking Wanderer series, I can't concentrate that much on 2 things. Let's have a look. Where are we now? Any more deals? No, just skipping along. Still Wesley Hurt's waiting. Few more messages. Let's have a look. How are the Super White Army getting on? I'll go and have a look at Tranmere in a minute. Are Fulham still in a Championship? We'll go through the whole English pyramid the day before it switches over, so we can have a look at all the clubs. Andrew Green, am I saying I'm lonely? Not lonely, because obviously working in the NHS, we're still going to work every day. But, as you well know, you entertain me and our mate Tom with our pub quiz yesterday evening via Skype, so more than happy to do that again this evening, pal. Darren, we better have cricket. I'm an umpire at the local ECB Premier League. Get to umpire some pros and we'll be gutted if the season's cancelled. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely love cricket. It's very close second to football for me. Obviously, I've had cricket careers from the Cricket 19 game on the channel before. So, absolutely no argument with that. Let's have a look at the football pyramid because a couple of you asked about clubs. So, let's see. Tranmere Rovers. Can anyone see them in there? I don't think they are. Tranmere aren't in League 1 there. Are they in League 2 then? Doesn't look good for you, Jess. Let's have a look. They're in 10th in League 2. So they're doing all right, but not quite as well as you were probably hoping. Manny Monte's still there, though. 7-8 years in, 31 now. Absolutely flying. And if you're talking about Tranmere, that podcast series at 7 o'clock tonight, you might hear a bit more about Tranmere on there. So keep an eye out for that one. In terms of Fulham, are they still in the Championship? Yes, 12th place. So we'll be coming up against Fulham next season. That'll be one of our tougher games. I think actually they're the game we've got in Torquay, in our Dorking save tomorrow. The first game of the Championship season there. I'm pretty sure it is. I'll apologise tomorrow if that is wrong, but I think it is Dorking Wanderers v Fulham. I'm just still waiting for this Wesley Hurt deal. I just need him to get some action in. We can't afford to take 2 weeks to do a signing each time. Otherwise, we're not going to get the players in we need, particularly once the others start going out of contract. And it's the problem when we get to this level. We're now competing for players that 5, 6, 7, 8 clubs want. And the contract negotiations take time. They don't decide if they want to join for a week or two. And it just holds things up a little bit, which is a little bit unsavoury. And then obviously at the start of July, we'll have all of the leagues coming off, so it should speed up a bit too. But thank you to everyone who's still following along and watching. Hopefully it's a little bit of entertainment for you. And hopefully Chris Kasper will produce some signings soon. He's got no excuse now. He's saving his job. Has anyone seen him have a contract offer yet? I don't think we've seen him sign a new deal. So Chris Kasper could well be jobless in 2 weeks. And that means we'll go part of the window without a director of football, which is going to be a huge concern. And at that point, we will be desperately looking for jobs. But as it stands, we have not got a squad that's capable of competing in the Championship. We haven't got any signings. And this is all going quite badly. So hopefully that will change soon. 3 messages. Let one of them be Wesley. Please. Fingers crossed. No, just more players that have been scouted. They're all good ones. I take all 3 of them. They're all affordable. So, Chris Kasper, go and do it. We'd happily take them 3, mate. Make some signings, please. Dren, my 2 local teams are facing off. There's going to be a few of them about. I was going to actually look to see where Luton were. I couldn't remember. But hopefully they're doing all right these days. I think they're in the Championship. Because obviously in the Dorking save, I got promoted and Luton got relegated at the same time. So let's have a look at Luton. Luton are 20th in the Championship. So I'll have Luton as well. That'll be a nice one for me. And I promise you that'll be one of the episodes. I love the reunions for Luton. Andrew, I'm not answering that one, mate. Not at all. Oh. We've got a message popping up here. You can see it in the ticker. Wolves have signed Chelsea's Paul Beresford. So that means his loan's probably been cut short. So now we need Wesley. It's no longer a point of can we get him in? Will he sign for one of the other clubs? We now need him if we want to have a success. We've got the players coming back for training in 4 days' time. There'll be friendlies going through. Don't worry, I don't play any of those. But Beresford's definitely gone, no matter what. Whether he signs a new deal, whether he'd signed at Chelsea, whether he'd gone to Wolves. Maybe Wolves will loan list him. I haven't thought of that. That could be a good possibility. Then we could have 2 left-footed centre-halves, both top quality. I'm interested to see what's happened with Beresford. We'll go and take a look in a minute when we pop back. Not going to stop the processing. I'm really concerned about how quiet it is now. I really am, to be honest. I'm quite concerned that Kasper hasn't got a deal. He doesn't seem to be that hasty on the signings here. Oh, hang on a minute. I've just been proven wrong. No, I haven't. Wesley Hurt rejected us. I was about to say he's gone for 2 players at once. So we've missed out on Wesley Hurt. We've lost Paul Beresford. He's gone off to Wolves, where he is in the under-23s and might be available for loan. So keep your eyes peeled. But he's now trying to sign Stephen Edmondson-Roos. Oh, it's another left-back. Oh, it's another left-back. Why is he so obsessed with left full-backs here? 1.1 million, 22 years of age. I mean, he's a good player. He's very solid at this level. He'd probably be first choice with Tom Field dropping a backup. But we've just lost a centre-half. We've got 2 fit centre-halves in the whole squad, which are Sid Nelson, obviously at Tranmere in real life, and we've also got Ross Sykes, who was there at the second half of last year. Why is he not trying to sign a centre-half? But more importantly, we have got a job interview. CSKA Moscow, not one I was expecting to get one for. So we'll pick up the language. Experience in international football, we can use that in the interview now. Didn't think of that. We're taking a risk leaving a safe job, but we want to work our way up the ladder, so you have to trust us there. I'm capable of managing both teams to a high standard. Yeah, why not? It is going to get to the point where we have to choose, but for now, we can do both jobs. We've not applied for too many jobs. Don't accuse us of that. I'm trying to forge a career, any means necessary. You'll probably be able to tell by this, I pick the same answer most times. I always meet expectations set by my club. In fact, I think that's not a lie. I think I've done that at every club. I've got track record. I've spent considerable time at clubs when they've allowed me to. It's only Charlton who sacked us and Halifax where we got a massive jump up. I don't need to make any staffing changes. Don't even want to have a say, mate. Next season, qualify for the Europa League 2. Develop the best youth system in the country. Sell players for a profit. It's a very different type of club. It looks like an exciting future though, so we've got 3 years to then work towards winning the league. That's a job I'm very interested in. I'm not going to ask for anything. An enlightening discussion. Now that normally leads to quite a good outcome. I've learnt the code of that one, so I'm quite hopeful we might be CSKA manager soon. Let's skip ahead and see, and then maybe we'll get some signings at Salford and not want to go. But we'll find out as we go along. Thanks to those who are putting a thumbs up on it. I do appreciate it. I'm just refreshing the chat and then I'll catch up with any messages I've missed along the way. But thank you for being here still. I do appreciate that. I hope you're enjoying it. Hopefully Chris Kasper will give you a first signing of the window soon to enjoy. But I'm sure we'll find out there. And of course we've got the World Cup going on as well. Something that we're not involved in with Ireland. So we'll wait and see. Jamon, how long do you play FM for and how long per session, sorry? I've only ever gotten to the 3rd season because I have several saves. So that's the problem. And it was a problem I used to have before probably playing it on YouTube. Is bar the head coach, I used to just start a series, do 1 or 2 years, then get to the stage where I've gone, oh, it's been a tricky summer and I can move on to someone else now. I could start again. So I used to do that quite a lot. This has probably given me a bit more of the discipline for it. But the head coach has always been an easy one because you have so much variety. I love the challenge of not having that control. The one club series, I've probably been more disciplined since doing it on here. Each session, probably 2 or 3 hours. So I'm normally home in the evening. I'll do a couple of hours. Then normally catch up the recordings on my day offs and the weekends. And then we cross that across the week. But sometimes you have to play the odd hour here or there just to get to the recording point for the next morning because I've got to fit those around the work schedule. The day job comes first, unfortunately, particularly at a time like this. So that's the main reason for it. But otherwise, I probably don't actually play it as much as I used to. The editing's a lot quicker now because, as you've probably noticed, I don't make quite so many howlers and going all the way through my videos. And as I do go along, I will get gradually better at that. So even before, it's very hard to get out of that mode of being in a broadcast voice. Whereas in the last few weeks, I've just tried to be a bit more relaxed. And if there's little gaps there where I'm going, oh, I'm not sure about this player, I've left them in to show you just how much of the scrutiny I put on certain decisions. But yeah, probably play it a bit less now, actually, but 2 or 3 hours in the evenings. And then the weekends, it's probably open for 5 or 6 hours, but about half of that is doing the recordings. We've got another offer for Charlie Savage. Another one that's been rejected. He's on the transfer list. He's on the loan list. I don't know why it is being rejected. He's not good enough for championship level. Not quite sure about that one. But either way, we've still got no signing news. We've got no job news. This is not quite what I was hoping for in terms of action. Andrew Green, you are not a better looking Phil Mitchell. Please stop lying about that because you used to have hair until yesterday. But you will be hosting a pub quiz this evening, I hope, because that is keeping us entertained. And let us know in the chat if you'd like Andrew Green to come on my channel and do the pub quiz live so you can all join in. Let him know because we can organise that, I'm sure. He's got hundreds of the bloody trivia cards, so I'm sure he'll be able to get involved for you. And he loves a bit of fame, bless him, Andrew, so he'll be involved. Thank you to the new people coming along and putting a like on it. We've reached double figures for likes. Thank you for that. I do appreciate it greatly. Lots more views than normal as well. I really do appreciate it. I'm sure it will start to hot up in the next week because we might have a new job. But either way, once that first signing comes in, I know it will have a domino effect. And it's probably the hardest thing, and I'm sure, again, Darren might agree with me here. When you're playing a Director of Football challenge, don't forget at the start of a transfer window, so like the Dorking one, I've normally signed or planned 3-4 signings before the end of June. So before we're back for pre-season, we've signed a couple of youngsters that might be good for the future, got a couple of players to extend their loans, maybe got in a new loanee from a parent club, maybe signed 1 or 2 that were standouts in the scout reports. Here, you just don't see anything happen till July. And I think the only time we had it was probably, was it the last? Kettering was awful for it. That was, we started the season with a youth team basically, didn't we? And then got it halfway through. We've had the offer accepted for Edmondson Roos. I think at Halifax the summer wasn't too bad, although we did have a quite small squad. Scunthorpe wasn't terrible. Charlton, they just had money, but again, they were all on deadline day, even in January. They weren't doing them in advance. It just seems like the Director of Footballs love panicking here, which is a little bit unusual. But either way, we're nearly there for the first signing, and hopefully it'll make a massive difference to us moving forward. And the lads are back for pre-season today as well. Got any bad news? Some players back in top condition, none injured. Fringe players, they want to step up. So Charlesworth is playing a fair bit off the bench anyway. He's not bad. And Sam Taylor, we've got to get involved this year. I don't know that I can make that happen, to be honest. What do we think of the upcoming season? I'm just going to say we might well get relegated, but fight as hard as you can. It's all the board want. It's all we're going to want. We'll agree with the code of conduct. Everyone's happy. That's what we want to see morale-wise. Just George Grant not happy, but he's on the transfer list, so can't expect that from him. Any more jobs available? Still just Liverpool and Napoli that we haven't applied for. PEC Zwolle, and I've pronounced that wrong, I'm sure. They're in the Eredivisie. Who's their best player? Sekou Sidibe. It's not a great deal, is it? And he's not earning much more than the top earners at our club, so that's probably not a big step up for us. So I'm going to leave that one for now. But hopefully we'll get a few more job interviews. We've had 1 or 2 already, so that's what I'm hoping for as we go along. Darren, yeah, spot on. If you're in charge, it's the biggest difference. If you're in charge of the club yourself, you've normally signed them all at the start of the window. And when you're in the head coach, you just have to be prepared. I might have to play some youth players for the first 2 or 3 weeks. I might have to wait until the panic of deadline day to get my signings. I don't know why they suddenly come to life then. Maybe they've all turned into Daniel Levy or something, but the less said about him, the better at the minute, unfortunately. But into pre-season we go. We need that left-back to come in so we can start signing players in positions we actually need it. And we'll start to fly through once the leagues drop off now. As Spain winning in the World Cup, I'd love to go and see who gets to the final in that. We'll go and watch it if it's England, maybe. But either way, just disappointed not to be there with Ireland, really. And I don't think we're going to get there next time with the squad we've got. So we might have to be a bit more patient on that front. And we should have the switch over of the season soon. So we should find out what our first fixture of the year is going to be. Looks like it's probably just a day or 2 off now. 1 week to go. Look, 1 week to go. The only man out of this coaching team, or the staff, sorry, that's not had a new deal is Chris Kasper. We're going to be without one. We're going to be live streaming our first ever time, and it's going to be the most disastrous transfer window ever, where we've got no director of football. The chairman will be in charge of transfers then, probably. Connor Chaplin wants a new deal. You used to have an option here that the director of football would discuss it. I'll ask Horgard too, but I don't think it's going to work. No, absolutely not. So, there you go. Should we discuss it with him? I don't know what I can do. Oh, he's happy now just because I went to speak to him. Salford have increased their reputation. Are we up there with championship clubs though? Not really. So even now it's gone up, we're still below a lot of the other teams. Only AFC Wimbledon, who are behind us, who have come up. Coventry have come back down, so they're not going to be there. Otherwise, we're going to be the smallest club in the championship. So it's us and Wimbledon. We're expected to go down. There's no doubts about that. But thank you for those who are coming along and still popping in and saying hello. If you are here for the first time, say hello. Do appreciate it. Hopefully Chris Kasper will give you some news soon. He's not looking too keen to do so, but either way, we'll see what happens as we go along. Here we go. I spoke too soon. We've got our first sign in and we've immediately got another bid. So this is what I mean. We do get them straight afterwards. We get another bid coming in. So that's what we're looking at the moment. Let's see how we're getting on. Bear with me. Just replying to a couple of your comments. So, Salford have signed Edmondson Roos. He's a very good left back. We've got to be fair to him in that regard. 3.5-star ability already. He's not bad. He's earning a lot of money. He's the top earner at the club now, actually, I think. Is there anyone earning more than him? Let's go and have a quick look. There's not. Edmondson Roos is the top earner at the club. That's a real concern for us. They've also given him a percentage of next profit. Yep, so he's going to earn more money if he leaves. We're going to lose out on the sale there. There's a few things for us to be concerned about. But we have got a first sign-in. It's a player who signed to Fulham for 3.2 million, and we've got him for about a third of that. So we've got to be pleased with that element. Otherwise, it's not a position we desperately need. It's a club that we could really do without having that sort of player. But overall, a good signing. So we're happy enough with that. Stephen Edmondson Roos, at least it's a player. So well done, Chris Kasper. He's got 6 days left in his job and he's found a player. He's now put in a bid for Nathan McGinley. 2.5-star ability. 29-year-old centre-half. Was he at Scunthorpe before? No. Oh, it's Forest Green I recognise him from. He's not good enough. He's a backup. He's not good enough to start. I've no idea why he's being signed. But either way, at least he's making moves. We can't complain at this point. He's making deals and that's the only thing we can ask for. So let me go and say hello to a few of you in the chat as well. Let me know if there's anything you want to know at this point. Any players you want to see from our team. I will let you know as we go along. But at the moment, things are looking pretty good because we're starting to make signings. McGinley's not good enough, but at least it's a player. And at this point, we've just got to be grateful for signings. We've then got to worry about who's our next director of football going to be. Because Chris Kasper, it doesn't look like, surely he would have got a deal by now. 6 days to go, the chairman wouldn't leave it that late. Maybe he's not happy either, and he's going to get someone in to make loads of signings. That would be the preferable option, but we'll wait and see. Let me just send you all a message while I'm here, just to make sure my chat doesn't crash again. Any more news? No, not yet. We're going through the World Cup, which is why it's a little bit slower, but what we would give to have a festival of football in real life at the moment. We can't complain that there's a virtual World Cup going on. Any more deals? No, but we have got our start of the season. So, our first game is away at Middlesbrough. Tough trip that is. Barnsley away on Boxing Day. Reading at home on the end of the season. So good to have the last game at home if it does come down to that. Lots of TV money. Good easy tie against League One Shrewsbury in the Carabao Cup, sorry. I've said easy now, I'm going to lose that, aren't I? But we've only got to fight bravely against relegation. So I'm not going to get too worried at the moment. We'll unfollow League One as we're not there anymore. And let's just skip ahead and see if we can get some deals over the line. They're asking us about the players coming in. I just don't really mind at the moment. He's not going to get a deal, Chris Kasper, is he? No director of football. This is going to be a bit of a strange one for us. Jammer, no problem. Thanks for popping along. Do appreciate it, mate. Glad you enjoyed the bit you were here for. And thanks for helping sort the audio issues as well. Do appreciate all of you sticking by and enjoying it. As I say, in about half an hour's time, we should be getting towards the end of the window. A new director of football, some new players, and no job at CSKA Moscow because we've been rejected. Look at that stats, the 4 players leaving. Dixon's 4.5-star ability, Porter 3.5, Lucas Smith 4. We can't afford to lose them. We've lost out to Starl Solbakken. Was he the one who was at Wolves and had a shocking time? He is. I thought so. 2012-13. I think Luton beat him in the FA Cup third round. It was one of his last games there. We'll just say we're pleased to have Edmondson Roos on board. Good left back, but one of the positions I didn't need to replace. So hopefully as we go along, we'll get a few more in that sense. But either way, at least it's a move. I'm not going to get too downbeat at this point because we've got a transfer in. And that's something I probably didn't expect to happen, to be honest. Thank you to everyone who's still here watching. I do appreciate it. If you haven't yet, please put a thumbs up on it. It does make a difference and I do appreciate it greatly. Chris Kasper's not getting a contract. So we're going to be without a director of football. And that means either the chairman will be in charge of transfers. I don't think we've got a technical director. I'll go and check shortly if I remember rightly. Although, hang on. Contract clauses even. No, they're all wage rises, so none of them relating to Chris Kasper. We've got some friendlies organised, that's brilliant. We don't want to have to worry about that. And training's all set up, so I don't do the team training. not unless we've lost a game and we need to work on something in particular. But I do the individual training. Just for anyone who's not aware of that, sorry. So we'll go and set up Edmondson Roos at the start of July. I was hoping to do 2 or 3 at once, but that's not going to be the case by the looks of things. World Cup-wise, I can see Italy are losing. That's a bit of a worry for them. That's extra time as well. So they must be out if that's the result. Tom, you're back. What have we missed? Our director of football's not got a contract and he's running out in 3 or 4 days, so we probably won't get any transfers in. We've also got another signing potentially coming in a moment. We've signed 1 player, which is another left-back who we probably don't need. Edmondson Roos. He's now gone up to 4-star though, but only because other players who were better have left. And otherwise, it's not going very well. We had an interview at CSK in Moscow and got turned down. The other ones haven't offered us a job yet. We're going to work Edmondson Roos on attacking as a fullback. I think it's support Fields on normally. What does Field normally do out there? Automatic, yeah. So support's fine for him. What do we want him to work on? Stamina. Natural fitness is average. Stamina's not great. We can't be signing players that can't play 2 games a week. So endurance for him. Let's crack on, see if Chris Kasper gets a deal. Or if we get a new director of football. Only 4 days left now. Horgaard's dropped his unhappiness. That's a good thing. Close has got himself a new team record. So at least our keeper's not unhappy anymore. I think he's the club captain as well. So that's the last thing we wanted to happen. But hopefully as we go along, it'll be a bit easier then. Thank you to all of you who are still here. I do appreciate you following along. Please get that thumbs up on there. Let me know anything you want to know as we go through the window as well. 3 more questions. Right, Marseille, we didn't get an interview. Braga, we didn't get an interview. It's not looking good for the job change, is it? I think we're going to have to stick it out with Salford. And I think it's going to be a long, hard season. All of those loans going. Why has he not made a bid for Dixon? That's the one I don't get. He's available. He's still loan listed. I think it's Leeds he's at his parent club. But he's not put anything in for him whatsoever, which is a bit strange. And it looks like we're almost there. Chris Kasper's about to lose his contract. What do we do if we have no director of football? In a director of football save. The chairman becomes the director of football. We'll certainly change the style of the series. But either way, these are the bits you don't have control of. And this is why this series is so challenging and so frustrating. Because when you're trying to do it as one club, you're trying to work along. And then you've got the hicks in the road. You've got no director of football. You've got a slow acting one. You've got a shortage of staff. So when we joined Salford, it took about half a year before we fully staffed the coaching team. He still hasn't done it for the recruitment team. And now he's going to be off. And we're going to have no one in the middle of the summer transfer window. It really is a bit of a difficult situation. And they're the sort of challenges that I love in this series. It's why I do it. But it does make for some difficult moments. But we're nearly there now, so I'm just hoping the chairman will go quick, say, let's get another man in. Let's get another director of football. We've got more players homegrown at the club, but these things are irrelevant now. I just want to know if we get some more signings. I know that McGinley's not very good, the centre-half, but we're going to need a backup there. And hang on, we've got a job interview. We're going to need a backup there, and we need to get on to the next signing. So Charlie Savage looks like he's going on loan to Oldham. They're paying all of his wages. We've got an interview over in Italy, so that's at Cagliari. I'm going to say I'm fairly adept at learning languages. Anyone who knows me in the chat knows that I'm not, but we can lie, it's fine. That's how you get these jobs. We're keen to work our way up the managerial ladder. We can manage both teams to a high standard. Again, lots of these, you can only say the same thing. It's acceptable. I want to forge a career. Strong atmosphere in the dressing room. Doing it all right at the moment, so I can say that happily. And I've always had a great relationship with supporters. Yes! Am I happy working with the director of football? Of course I am. And look at him, he's brilliant. Yes, I want to work with him. Please get me this job. I don't need to change the staff in. Leave it to your director of football. He's a genius. Mid-table in Syria, I think we can manage that. I'm very happy working with that. Don't need to do anything else. That's a job I'd quite like to have looking at the director of football. Slightly later start to the season as well. Would be a lovely point to finish off the stream with a new job as well. So I'm hoping that will come true. But it could go wrong at some point. So I'm not going to get too excited just yet. But let me know down in the chat. Cagliari, good move. Syria's got to be a step up surely. It's a big league and a very good director of football, which is normally one of the most important parts here. So I'm hoping they'll be able to help us out as we go along. Tom, thanks for joining in again. Appreciate that. I'm really glad. I'm happy for those of you that are sticking along. I really do appreciate your support with this. Thank you to everyone who's put a thumbs up on it. Make sure you get in the comments down below afterwards. Let us know what you think of any signings that do come in and any job that we do get along the way as well. But of course, we've got just one day now until Chris Kasper's contract's out. And it doesn't look like he's going to get a new one. Chris Kasper, he's going to be gone. He's going to be gone. But are we going to be gone? Because they could lose their director of football and manager conceivably within a week. If Cagliari want to take a chance on us, it's not often the first step that you get to the sort of top level of football is normally one where it comes about in England because you haven't got that reputation. But having this international job with Ireland, the first time that's ever happened on the channel as well, it really has changed the way it works. It's given me this huge reputation that I don't deserve. The promotion and title win has obviously helped as well, but we wouldn't normally have a 3-star reputation that's bigger than Salford. So I think it might well accelerate us. And to get a job in Serie A, we obviously managed there for 1 year with Napoli in last year's game. Was it 2 years in the end? But we had a little spell there. I really enjoyed that actually, so I hope we can do that again. Cagliari will be a good step up for us, so I'm looking forward to that. It doesn't look like things are being managed well off the pitch here, so it's probably a situation that we've got to think about when we're deciding about a new job. But again, if we're going to move abroad, we're going to move to a new country, we probably can't do it if it's going to be less money than normal. So we've got to think about those things as well. You have to be realistic. If you get offered half the money, you can't do it. And look what's happened in the top left here. England won 5-0 against Nigeria in the World Cup. I saw Jude Bellingham scored there. Let's go and have a look. Obviously been talked about in real life quite a lot. So they won Group H, did England. They got through. I forgot we're in this new World Cup with 48 teams, aren't we? Let's go and look at the second round. So who played in there? England beat Gabon 3-0. The third round, England won 5-0 against Nigeria. Jude Bellingham was the man for that one. So let's go and have a look at him. Right near the top. He's at Chelsea now. Oh, he's a very good midfielder. World class. Still only 23. We wouldn't mind managing him in the future. Might well come about. We've got 7 years to get up to the top with him there. So it's certainly not ruling it out. Thank you. I can see a couple more thumbs up have popped up on there. Thank you to those of you that have put a like on it. It does make such a difference. I do really appreciate it. Apologies if I've forgotten to turn anything on in terms of chat functions and things like that. I'm not quite an expert at this yet, as you may have worked out. But I will get there eventually, I promise you. We'll certainly do more of these in the future because it's great to get involved. We could even do another one if we end up joining Cagliari, but that we'll wait to find out at the moment. We're skipping in. It's just that big day. The 30th of June is always the moment it all happens. Everyone's out of contract. The director of football, most importantly for us. Zach Brown will be leaving. All of the loanees will be leaving. And hopefully, because we'll have a much smaller squad then, either the chairman or whoever takes over the transfers will just go ballistic. Just try and get people in, replace the squad. We'll only have about 13, 14 players at that point. It's going to be a really difficult time. So I'm not quite sure what's going to happen there. I think the McGinley deal's still on as well. It's been about 2 weeks, but nothing's happened in that regard at all. So a little bit bizarre. But thank you to those of you joining along again. Please do let me know anything you want to know, anything you want me to have a look at as we go along. Don't forget later on today, there'll still be a normal video out at 4:30. That one will be me and Tom talking about the stadium review. Starting with Accrington Stanley. Who are they? So we'll be having a bit of fun with that one. Just having a chat we would if we were down the pub or pre-game or going to the game on the train. They're the sort of things we'd be talking about. The grounds we've went to, what they were like. So we'll do exactly the same in this one. But we are at the 30th of June. And this is the day of reckoning for us. We keep getting asked to sign up to things, which we're not gonna. But our director of football's about to leave the club, I think. And that's going to make things quite tricky for this series. So let's just wait and see. Make sure it does happen. And then we'll plan what we're going to do next. I'm waiting. The suspense is getting me. Jamon, glad to see you back. Thanks for coming along, buddy. Do appreciate it. We are just waiting to see if Chris Kasper gets released. It is the day his contract expires. And he could be leaving the club any minute, as will a few players. So I'd imagine this day will take a little while to load. On the first, a few of the leagues from Europe go, so it should make things a bit quicker then. And then we have got to worry about who's going to be in charge of transfers and who's going to bring them in. We've still just got the one signing at the moment, the very good young left back. Still got the negotiations going in for McGinley, which have been for 2 weeks, for a centre-half who's not going to be good enough. Could be a solid fourth choice, I guess. Might have a good personality for mentoring groups. I was frustrated, so I didn't have a look to see on that one. But otherwise, we can't be too disappointed. So I saw the message there. Chris Kasper's contract expired. Offer contract or release. Why are we getting asked that? Because I'm pretty sure I've got the chairman in charge of it. So I'm going to go and do that in a moment. Let me just make sure he is still in charge, because he keeps taking himself off of it. So responsibilities, transfers and contracts. No, we want staff, don't we? Staff. Yeah, John Radford's in charge of it. So is he going to keep him on a month-to-month deal? Because that's going to make things even harder. But there we go. Porter leaves. Grimes is back. A few of the youngsters are back. Sibley's left as well. Dixon and Smith have both left. Lucas Smith. Oh, they kept him, Southampton. So he's still loan listed. He was a star player last year. Go and sign him, please. What about Dixon? Is he still on the loan list? He is as well. I mean, there were two of our best players last year and he's just ignoring them. 14 players leave. The only ones that are really of note are Akinola, Clements and Brown. Player contracts, nearly everyone's out at the end of this season. Staff contracts, pretty much the same. Youth contracts, there's not really any hot prospects there. Only Fletcher. He's a good young attacking player, but he can't finish, which I always hate. But look at his personality. Model citizen for a 17-year-old. That's not bad. Sam Taylor's back from his loan. He's a decent player, but not good enough. I don't really want to promote him because we won't then sign a winger. So they're the things we need to keep an eye out. Craig's asking about the podcast. He's obviously missed a couple of plugs already. 7 o'clock this evening, FM20 Network Career. That'll be over on the podcast channel. Me v Craig and Charlie. Craig's already been humiliated once on the channel already, as you'll remember from the fantasy draft tie. So hopefully he'll do a bit better with help from an assistant manager. And I will just say in my defence that Charlie and Craig, between them, manage a non-league football team in England in real life. So they've got proper coaching experience. Because they keep using the excuse that I've played Football Manager before, but they're actually manager and coach at a club. So there shouldn't really be an excuse there. But now Chris Kasper's out of contracts, I don't know what will happen. Will he be kept month to month? Will the chairman, John Radford, go out and sign another director of football? Hopefully that saga isn't going to take away from transfers coming in, because that's something that could be a big issue for us. We've obviously got the end of the World Cup to look at when it comes about. And we might even have a job. So if we get a job offer, that could be massive for us. Thank you to new people popping in. Another like on the video. Thank you very much. Hope you're enjoying the stream. I'm sorry Chris Kasper's not giving you the entertainment you wanted. And I'm sorry to Chris Kasper that he might not even have a job now. Let's have a look. Youth player poached again. 2 youth players poached within a month. They're probably the ones that would have been the best as well. Charlie Savage, another offer, this time from Grimsby. He's going out on loan. So not quite good enough for the Championship, but has played 50 games for us before. United youth product, not a bad player. But not quite second tier of English football ready, I'm afraid. But we are starting to fly through a little bit now. Into July we go. Clubs in England releasing players. They're all old, but look at some of those stars. N'Golo Kante, Kevin De Bruyne, Robbie Firmino, Sadio Mane, Sebastian Haller from Arsenal rather than West Ham. There's some big players there. That's absolutely massive. So is that McGinley deal still going on? I've just got to have a quick look. It is. Little money, still on the deal. He's out for 2 weeks injured anyway, but it just seems a bit bizarre that that one's taking so long. He's a fairly average player. There shouldn't be quite so much competition, but apparently there is. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by that one, to be honest. I thought that would have been wrapped up by now. It should be a fairly easy one, but it's not the case. And I'm starting to get a bit concerned because that's holding up all the other transfers. And we're now at the stage, I'll show you the squad next time we come back, where we need a lot of players. So if we go and have a look in the inbox, the manager performance still only B+. If we go to the squad, that's our squad now. So I know there's 3 or 4 in the under-23s who could at a push be involved. So by that, I mean, if we go and have a look, Sam Taylor, Charlie Savage, who'll be going out on loan. Is there anyone else down there? Mark Oldnall, he's improving a little bit, but he's not a second-tier striker, is he? David Herbert's improving. George Williams there as well. But in the first team, we're down to, 15 players. That includes George Grant, who was a flop last year. Randell and John, who aren't really good enough. 2 goalkeepers. It's not looking good, lads. It's not looking good at all. Let me know, is there anything I can do to try and force this director of football into some action? He's probably not too happy about the fact he's working on a non-contract at the minute, so I can't imagine he's going to be the most compliant, but we have to hope he's going to do something for us. I guess the only hope we have got is that England might win the World Cup. That's the only thing that might go positively in this one. So I thank you for joining me and keeping my spirits up, because normally I'd be very upset with my director of football by now. A lot more frustrated than I am watching this. We've got Cowden Beef coming up in our first friendly too, so hopefully our small squad can make that work. Is that Manchester United on the 11th? Can't imagine that one going well. But Cowden Beef and Fleetwood, 2 games that we should be getting results from. Hopefully McGinley will join, we'll get another offer in. Chris Kasper will start getting to work soon, but it's not looking good at the moment. Let's see. Someone wants this winger on trial. Who is he? He's just a Ukrainian winger. I'm not quite sure why we're getting that message, but he's gone to Metz on a free transfer. Maybe he's on a shortlist or something. He is, so we'll just take him off there. But still no action on transfers. I know we couldn't do anything before the 9th of June, but we're 4 weeks later now. And he's done nothing. He signed 1 left back, and he's had 1 deal going for 2 weeks. I can see, hang on a minute, England won against Mexico in the World Cup. That's the quarter-final they won. And we have signed Nathan McGinley. $4,000 a week, backup fringe player. 200 grand. He's okay. He's not as good as Sykes. He's not as good as Nelson, who was a backup in League One last year. He's going to be 4th choice, basically. He's just Akinola. That's all he is. He's the replacement for Akinola. But he's been paid more. And he's cost more. But there's no deal for another player been put in. So that's something that I've got to be worried about as well. So we should have another bid going in for a player in a minute, because that's now freed up their 1 in 1 out system. I'm just going to refresh the chat because it looks like that's got behind again, just so I can keep up with anyone who said anything. Thank you to all of you who are continuing to watch. Thanks to those who have put a thumbs up on it. I do appreciate it. Buckley's ability questions. Again, more Ireland news. Why is there not another bid going in? We've signed McGinley now. There are no deals in progress. And he's not doing anything. It's the middle of July. We've got a 15-man squad. He's not exactly preparing us for life in the Championship, is he? He's not helping out whatsoever. I don't know what to do to get him moving. I've got to say, for all the clubs I've managed in this series so far, I know Kettering, it was very slow business, but it was good business when it got done. Here, we've just not had... I've never seen a director of football work so slowly. As we say that, he has put in an offer for someone. On loan, Michael Proctor from Leeds. This is the starting centre-half we needed. Not great in the air, but otherwise he's excellent. England under-20 international. Yes, please. We would like him. Played for Dundee and Leeds. He can be playing for Salford next. We need to get this one done quickly, though. It can't wait for 2 or 3 weeks. Does anyone else want him? They do. So this is probably going to drag out half of July. I'm not going to go for a press conference for McGinley because he's a utility backup man at most. But Proctor could be a big signing. Could be our new Beresford. So let's hope that one gets done as well. We've got Cowden Beef today as well. McGinley not fit for his first game at the club. So a very small squad. If we can't win this game, I think we're going to be in a bit of trouble this season, to be honest. So I'd like to hope we can get something done here. What's the result? We hammered them 3-0. We've picked up an injury. Adam Randell 5 to 6 weeks. So he's going to miss the start of the season. That's 4 weeks away. What a start, eh? I mean, he wasn't going to be a first choice player, but we've only got 4 men on the bench and one of them's now injured. So we're down to a bit of a crisis, I would argue, at this point. Hopefully, Chris Kasper will notice that and try and do something about it. But it doesn't appear to be the case, which is why I'm a little bit worried. He's just so passive. I've never seen a director of football in any of the series be so passive. I think we had 1 year at Slough in FM19 where we were really slow and late to work in a transfer window. But other than that, everything's been really smooth sailing. And we've now lost another player because he's loaned Savage out, who was on the loan list. We've not got the Cagliari job. Proctor's loan bid's been rejected. It doesn't look like he's put in another one either. He's not. He's not even put in another bid. I've no idea what's going on. Charlie Savage has left. So we're now down to 13 fit first team players. No bids currently in for any player whatsoever. I almost don't know what to say. This could well turn out to be the worst transfer window we've ever had. and Chris Kasper on his month-to-month deal could be the man responsible. Dren, you're back. Thank you very much for coming along. I do appreciate it. It's not going well since you were last here. We've got one more signing in who joined injured. We've had one man go out on loan. We've put in one loan bid for a player which has been rejected, and he's not put in a replacement bid. He's then gone 2 days and not bid for anyone else. He's also out of contract, Chris Kasper, and isn't really working to his best capacity. And he's still not completely filled the recruitment team. So this is not looking good for him. We're going to quickly have a look to see if there's any other jobs going, because that's basically our only saving grace for this season. We've only got 3 weeks left, so we've got not much time to get out. Atletico Madrid's going, but it's a massive job. In fact, it's not. It's only insecure at the minute. Fenerbahce. That's a big job. 4-star. We probably won't quite get that. 3.5's okay. All the other jobs have gone now. So we're going to be at Salford next season. We're going to have to come to terms with that. And we need Chris Kasper to save us here, because it's ridiculous if he leaves us with this club. I mean, Craig, you're absolutely right. Leave the club is what I would quite like to do at the minute, because I'm not been given a fair crack at the whip. We can't start the season with 13, 14 fit players, but it's a realistic save. I haven't got any other choices. My director of football's cutting costs despite having a big budget, and I'm unfortunately the victim of that at the minute. So we can only hope England win the World Cup and give us something to smile about in the meantime. Good news. Times are turning. Loan bid put in for Archie Dixon. 4.5-star ability, 5-star potential. We know him very well. This is what we wanted. Archie Dixon, let's get him in quickly. We can't be messing about for a week with this sort of deal. And then go back and get his teammate Proctor, because we could quite do with him too. I'm just trying to keep an eye out for the World Cup results as they come through. Dren, what about Vicente? I'll have a look in a minute. Any news on the job in Moscow? Jamon, unfortunately, I had an interview, but they went with someone else in the end. I think they were the club that went for Starley Solbakken, the former Wolves manager. So we got turned down, but we did get an interview with them. We also had an interview with Cagliari. We were turned down by them after that, though. Otherwise, all the other clubs rejected us without even giving us a chance. Trial day, 3 players. I mean, it's so quiet. It shouldn't be this quiet after promotion with a tiny squad. Archie Dixon, he's offering to pay his wages, so hopefully that one won't get rejected. We've got Robbie Wilmot joining as a scout, so hopefully we can look for more players. He's a former Luton man. Craig, in the comments below, you'll probably remember the 12 campaign back for the Manchester playoff final. The second that Luton lost in a row. The second that Luton lost in the playoffs, not the final, sorry. He's not a very good scout either. 8 for judging ability and potential. Not very adaptable, not determined, not motivated. He's not a championship scout, is he? I mean, what is Chris Kasper doing? Is he just resenting that he hasn't got a contract and deliberately throwing us under the bus here? I've no idea what's going on. It just seems like he doesn't want to be here anymore. And to be honest, he's making me feel the same way. So Archie Dixon's loan offer's been accepted. Now, please, be a good lad and come back very quickly, because we need you to come so we can get another player in. In terms of the jobs, Gil Vicente, yeah, it's not a bad idea. Let's see who their best player is. Noguera, he's a good centre-half. Just want to see what their facilities are like. 12,000. The problem for me is it a big enough step up? And we're not going to earn as much money, which we do have to take into account if we're moving abroad. As much as I'd probably rather manage them at the moment, I don't know that it's a realistic move for me. So I think I have to be fair. But now I am going to just go for it and apply for the Fenerbahce job, just in case. I mean, it's a massive club. We're not going to get it, but why not? And then we've got Bever in here, who have been finishing second in the Belgian league the last few years. Their best player is a wonderful Brazilian striker. We found ourselves a job we want. Not a massive club in real life, but a massive club in game. And that could be our saving grace here. Archie Dixon coming in could help us with Salford, but I wouldn't mind that job in Belgium, I've got to be honest. So hopefully, we'll have some good news on that soon. And Jamon, Craig, you're both absolutely right. We'd love to be leaving the club, because they're not helping us here at all. They're preparing us for life in this championship season with probably a worse squad than the one we've got at Dorking with no budget. So, well, that didn't go well. Fenerbahce rejected us immediately. My deep commitment towards not signing players over the age of 30. I don't sign players. I've had no say in it. Please, don't judge me on that. But it seems to have happened anyway. 8th of July, second friendly's popping up now. Still no transfer news other than the impending bid for Archie Dixon. We need him to come in almost immediately. We need to get more players very quick. Yeah, Dren, you're spot on. Beveren's the job I'm going for. I really like the look of that. We've got fitness. And this is the thing that's annoying me even more. We keep getting about these scout reports to show all the wonderful players that they found. And they're not putting bids in for any of them. It's making things very difficult. Let's hope we can get through this Fleetwood friendly without any injuries. The assistant, Richie Barker, does a decent job normally. Honours even. 0-0. So we could do with a striker. Chaplin's still here, but we've lost Zach Brown, who was our backup. We've lost Lucas Smith, who was on loan, of course, scored 20 goals last year. They haven't been replaced. It's very strange at the minute. I don't think I've ever seen such inactivity from a director of football in all my years playing this save. And I'm talking, when was the first year director of footballs were in? Maybe 2015, 16? But even before that, you could set the chairman and the other staff to do transfers. And I used to do that, and it was never this quiet. It's very, very strange that Chris Kasper, one, he hasn't been sacked or let go after running out of contract. You don't have month-to-month deals in the Championship normally. Charlesworth out of contract at the end of the year. Troy Parrott's got a double hernia. That's going to harm us for Ireland. So this is the sort of thing where I try to manipulate the director of football. To say, yes, I'd quite like Charlesworth to sign a new deal in the media, hoping he'd then go and do it behind the scenes. So that's public knowledge now. We've got Manchester United coming up next. They've got Tammy Abraham up front. Some big players moving between the big clubs there, actually. That's a bit strange, but each to their own. I'm sure we'll get beaten in that one. But with 3.5 weeks to the season, not even that actually, 3 weeks and a day, I'm really concerned about what's going to happen. I just need this deal done, next offer, deal done, next offer, and none of that's happening. A sellout expected for the United game. Any new jobs along? Dynamo Kiev. There we go. Let's just go for it. I mean, he's 1 to 5 on to get the job. Is he? Oh no, sorry, I'm reading the wrong job there. So that's absolutely not true. Ashley Young. That's not the Ashley Young, is it? It is. The Ashley Young is going to manage in the Welsh Premier League. Well, I never. That's the surprise of the series. Did not expect to see that today. Let me know your thoughts on that one. Thank you to those of you still watching. Thanks for the thumbs up. I do appreciate it. Keep getting involved if there's anyone's profile you want to see as we go along. Any team you want to see how they're getting on, what league they're in. I'm more than happy to have a look and answer for you. The under-23s have got a game. I normally just set them to get match fitness if they need it. We've not got any first team ones organised, so that should help. But it's on the same day as the United one. So we can't really afford to lose any from the first team, so we've only got 13 or 14 players. So that doesn't really bode well either. This is turning into a horror transfer window. An absolute horror transfer window. Can we get Archie Dixon in? I've still not heard anything of it. This offer was made days ago, wasn't it? Does it say what day it was? It doesn't. It was nearly a week at least. We've got a director of football on non-contract terms trying to get one loan player in who was already here. He could have wrapped up that deal before he went back anyway. He's just wasting time at this point. He's still not putting another loan offer for that Proctor, who was a really good loan youngster. He would have really sorted out that centre-half position. I'm starting to get a bit frustrated, if you can't tell. We've got the United game coming up, and we've got to another friendly without any signings whatsoever. So the lads here are now at a higher risk of injury because we don't have enough available. And this is where things get a bit tricky for us, because what do? Do you rotate? Do you play under 18s against the likes of Manchester United? Thankfully in this we haven't got to make that decision, but it does really worry me for the rest of the season. We've just not got a team. We're going to get battered here, are we? 4-1. Connor Chaplin got a goal. Some good players for United there. He's only earning £6,000 a week. It's a wonder kid on a youth work permit. It's very good. He is a proper wonder kid. Medjbury, 23 years of age, world-class attacking midfielder. And Lee Cullen, he's a young breakthrough prospect, but again, probably better than any of the players we've got. Another injury, Carl John, 2 weeks out. So he'll miss the rest of pre-season. I think that puts us down to 12 now that are fit. Although McGinley is just coming back. Jamon, love seeing players at the start of the save become managers or non-playing staff. Absolutely. Now I'm going to show you one that'll get you laughing here. And I think it's this series. Let me just go and check. If you go to my beloved Luton Town, and we'll see who's in charge there. I don't know if he still is. He's not. Let me go and show you the manager history. The last manager was... I've got the wrong save. It was Inigo Indiakes. That's not what I was looking for as well. So over in the Dorking Wanderers save then, the Luton Town manager is Neymar, which I was in fits of laughter when I saw it. Absolutely wonderful bit of news. But Ashley Young going to the Welsh Premier League is probably an even bigger step down, I've got to say. So I think Ashley Young might come up trumps on that one. Although to be fair, he has given the best advice on this virus of anyone from the UK so far. So go and listen to Ashley Young's tweet thread. Stay at home, get the advice. It's very good. But we're just sailing through pre-season here, and I'm almost speechless because there's nothing happening, and Archie Dixon's deal is taking ages. It's a player who was here last year. He either wants to come or not. It's only a loan deal. Just get it done. So you see the negotiating stat of 7. This is the biggest point where this harms it. So if you're ever getting a director of football and you're in control of it, look at the negotiating stat because you need things to be done quickly. Atletico Bilbao, of course, have rejected us. Season ticket sales, very low. We're a small club at this level. You wouldn't expect anything else. And in a job centre, there's no other jobs coming up now. So this is it for the summer. The England job is available as an international manager. We'll go and have a look at how they did in the World Cup in a minute. England won it. There you go. England win the World Cup. We've got some good news at last. It's nothing to do with our club. It's nothing to do with our series. But England have won the World Cup. And I'm guessing whoever was in charge has chosen to retire, and fair enough to him. He deserves to after that. But well done, England. World Cup winners. Can we now have one or two of the players as well? We are coming towards the end of this pre-season bit now. Thank you to everyone who's still watching along. I do appreciate it. Any questions, any things you want to see, keep letting me know down in the chat. I can't thank you enough for coming along today. Do appreciate it on your busy Sundays. I'm sure you've got better things to be doing, and I do appreciate you taking the time out for me. And I hope you enjoy this transfer special, even if it's just seeing me fail. People have mentioned it in the comments the last couple of seasons. The fact that it's realistic, my series. You don't always have success. You can have a relegation, you can have a sacking. And that's the best bit of this series. It causes some of the frustration like this, but it'd be too easy if you just won everything. I used to do it when I was a kid. It was easy to cheat and win, getting a strop and reload. But no, it's much more fun when you have the challenge, you lose, you get sacked, you have to rebuild your reputation. And it makes the success more rewarding, So hopefully we'll be able to get that with Salford. But at the moment, we'll be doing well just to be able to name 11 players at the start of the season. Blackpool's coming up for the next friendly, and we've still not got Archie Dixon in. Could be 3 friendlies without it. I mean, it's just getting silly now, isn't it? How is he so slow at getting a deal done? Dinamo Kiev have rejected us. Still no deals, though. Nothing happening whatsoever. Archie Dixon, that's been 11 days now, I think, when we get to the Blackpool game, and he's still not joined the club. Oh, I was hoping that message might be it, but we're going into the Blackpool game without him as well. What a bizarre set of circumstances this is. It really is quite strange. I just don't understand. Has anyone else, while we're there, because I know Darren mentioned it earlier, has anyone else got involved? Have been doing a head coach series or a director of football challenge? I know it's quite a popular one, the director of football bit. Has anyone else done that? Has anyone else found the same frustrations with the director of football? I can see why I've probably put most of you off doing it. Beveren haven't even offered us an interview. That's a shame. That was the job I was quite looking forward to. And we're scouting players for 30 million. No wonder we can't sign them. Nathan McGinley's fit, but only for 45 minutes. And again, we've not got any bolster to the squad. We're only 2.5 weeks away now. How can it be this bad? The FIFA Maniac, hi, how's it going? It's not going too well, this stream. The stream itself is great. I've got lots of following. I do thank you all for coming along and watching. If you haven't already, please put a like on there. It does make a difference. But I can only say the director of football is letting us down a bit here. So not really getting any signings in. We've only had the 2 so far. We've now lost to Blackpool, who are a League 2 side. They are a League 2 side. We've got about 12 fit players. And we're waiting for a loan deal to be done, which has been in progress for 10, 11 days now. So Our director of football is also on a month-to-month contract because the chairman doesn't want to keep him but won't replace him. So things not looking so good, FIFA Maniac, unfortunately. But in terms of the stream, we're all good. It's just the transfers that's not quite working out as well. But thank you to all of you who are following along. I hope you're enjoying the struggle I'm having. I hope you're enjoying seeing us fail. And I hope you're going to come and join me for the first game of the season on Tuesday, because it is going to be very difficult if we haven't got a bench. Let's see. Can this 2-bit of news be Archie Dixon? Nope, still not Archie Dixon. So, that deal is still in progress. As we mentioned earlier on, the biggest frustration in this save is there's never more than one deal happening at a time. So you've got to wait for all the rest. And look at all these brilliant players they're scouting. Stephen Burns, a cheap deal from Linfield in Northern Ireland. James Lee, he's on a free agent deal. He's brilliant. They're just what we need. They're exactly the sort of players that I'd just love to go and sign immediately. And we're just waiting. So many of them are good free agents. And we're now sitting waiting because the deals are taking 12 days due to the poor negotiations of Chris Kasper. It's the hardest bit of this series, the hardest bit to get used to. But it's the most rewarding bit when we get it right. So we've had a striker withdraw their commitment to Ireland. He's a young player. He's got good potential, but he can't finish. So I'm not going to argue with him. I'm not desperate for him to be an Ireland player. And more importantly, we've got bigger concerns to worry about at the minute. We did say we'd get to the stage where it's either Salford or Ireland or one management job, club or international. Do we think about dropping it? Way, finally! Archie Dixon has joined the club. Only took 12 or 13 days. A brilliant signing, best central midfielder, we know all that already. And now we've got an instant bid. Greg Johnston, lone right back from Celtic. Basically a like-for-like replacement for Robbie Porter last year. He's good enough, we'll take it. Probably not going to keep us up in a championship, but good enough to be a first-team player for us. We just need the signings. That's all that matters at this point. So let me know in the comments, in the chat, what do you think of those signings so far? The left-back's a very good signing. McGinley not so much, but decent enough as a backup. Archie Dixon, a star player. We know him very well. It's not happening quickly enough, but the ones that are good deals. Keith Milsom's injured, so that's 3 players out now, sorry. Not looking so good on the injury front. But with 2 weeks and 1 day to the season to go, I'm kind of hoping we'll get a little bit more magic just yet. But if the next deal takes a week and a half, then what do we do? And maybe that's why they all happen on deadline day, because it's the only time that deals are forced by the clubs. So at that point, the director of football doesn't have a choice at the speed he works at. It's the one thing I'd love to see changed in the game, just improve slightly. But we're back again. We've got under 23s and under 18s fixtures. Still no sign of signings. And until that Johnston comes in, all of those players who are free agents that have been scouted and are brilliant aren't going to get a look in. And that's going to frustrate me even more, because half of them will have joined new clubs. And we're just going to be stuck in a lurch with a very small squad. So we've got 2 more friendlies this pre-season. Aldershot Town and Dalbeattie Star. Who on earth picked those friendlies? But 2 very good games to come. And hopefully we'll go into the season in good form, if nothing else. So we're already at that stage where we're deciding a squad. Nathan McGinley gets a number. I mean, we can't even accept it without the under 23s because the squad's too small. It's that ridiculous at this point. Let's look at the under 23s. Anyone else to add in? George Williams. It's when you have moments like that looking at the squad that you realise just how threadbare we are. We really are threadbare. Thin on the ground. We've not got anywhere near what we need for the season. And the lack of activity is causing concern. We've had the offer accepted for Johnston, so let's hope he doesn't negotiate for quite as long. In terms of championship odds, as you'd expect, we're right down there with Wimbledon expected to go down. And based on our squad so far, I would completely concur with that thought process. Thank you for those still watching. Another thumbs up on there. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. If you haven't already, please do. But I do greatly appreciate you sticking along. We're almost at the season now. We're not going to have much news to report on. It's going to make the episode on Tuesday a bit easier, though. First game of the season and transfer review. There's not going to be many transfers to talk about, is there? Probably a few going out and the bit of the weird saga with the director of football, but it's going to be very disappointing looking at that ins column. And normally, I mean, I think this is even quieter than last year. We'd had a couple more at this stage. And And we had a better squad then to start. Sam Taylor signed a new deal. I think I've got to promote him to the senior squad because we haven't really got many options at the minute. Submit the squad numbers. I don't care what they get. I mean, let's look at that. That's hilarious, isn't it? Senior squads. Anyone missing out there? Only Horgard wants a favoured number and he's got it. So we're happy enough with that. But 2 weeks to go. 2 more friendlies. One against Aldershot. Hopefully we'll be able to get a good result in it. But we've got injuries galore as well. Plenty to worry about on that front. That's going to make things very difficult as we go along. If you haven't already, of course, and you're new along to the stream, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. We've got daily videos from FM20. And because I've done those hundreds of times, they're a bit better than these streams, which is just the first attempt. But thank you for those bearing with me and helping me get it right as we go along. I really do appreciate your help. We'll also have the start of our new football stadium review series later. Me and a friend talking about the 92, which we were trying to do before this lockdown. We'll talk about the clubs that we visited together, what we thought of the grounds, rank them on certain areas. It's all in video as well, so you'll get to see my ugly mug for another couple of hours today. And those episodes only about 15 minutes long. So hopefully there'll just be a bit of light relief from the football that's lost. Normally we'd all be tucking into a Super Sunday at 4:30, so we'll try and make up for lost time there. It's not looking good for us. We've gone past the Sunday now. We're now just 13 days away from the league season and we don't look any closer to signing some players. All of the good managerial jobs are gone. We only got 2 interviews and never really got considered. The season tickets, 2,500, that's good. No one expected to score big goals. And look at some of them players. Iheanacho, Morpay, Mitrovic, whoever this regen is who's alongside Mitrovic. How do you compete with that? How on earth do you compete? Can Johnston please join the club? I'm getting very frustrated now. Still only 3 signings all summer. Tom, new content tomorrow? Yes. So Dorking Wanderers will be out tomorrow, the start of the new season. We had the transfer special yesterday. Tomorrow will be the first game at championship level. I think I mentioned earlier it's against Fulham. May well be wrong, but we'll wait and see. This evening, 4:30, me and Tom's episode's out. 7 o'clock, we've got the network save over on the podcast channel. Hopefully we can get back to doing matchday vlogs there rather than football manager ones, because we do love real football as well. We'd love to be there. And there's a few Tranmere fans, of course, that have popped over. So thank you for coming into the stream as well. We do appreciate that. But 12 days to the season now. And things are looking pretty disastrous. Because we've got 3 signings. Everyone seems to be taking a week and a half. And you can't afford to do that at the moment. Oh. We've just had the trend broken. I've put this screen up here so you can see it. We've been proven wrong. Me and Darren were saying earlier on, there's never more than 1 bid for 1 player at a time. And we have got 2 concurrent bids. So let's have a look at this one. Tony Hughes for 100 grand from Fulham. Looks like a good deal financially. He's a decent striker. He can play off the 2 wings. He's versatile. I'm not going to complain about that. But we've been proven wrong, Darren. 2 players at the same time. That's something we like to see. If we can start doing that, then I will start to relax a bit more. Because that takes the pressure off how long these deals take to conclude. If we can give it a week, week and a half, we then know we haven't got to worry quite so much. But with only 11 games to go, we do need a couple of them to accept before then, or we are going to be in trouble. But thank you for everyone who's still watching. I do appreciate it. We're obviously coming towards the end of the transfer special and the stream now. But we've still got some big deals that need to be done. We need these 2 to get over the line. We probably need 2 or 3 more just to fill a bench with decent players. And that's going to be the big issue as we go along here. Are we going to get any sort of help from Chris Kasper? And is he going to get a contract at any point? Or is he going to get replaced? What's going to happen? As you'd expect, none of our players amongst the top young ones in the championship. Again, we're just getting scout reports teasing us about brilliant players that have been looked at. None of which are joining the club. So, it's getting quite frustrating here. These deals still not getting done. We've got 1 more friendly left. We've got 10 days to go. And we're going to be going into the championship season with a skeleton squad. We thought it was hard last time when we joined with 20 average players. And it's not getting made any easier here. Darren, you're absolutely spot on. It's never happened to me either that I can remember. I know on transfer deadline day, you get them in quick succession 1 at a time, but C2 there. That's something I don't think that's ever happened at the same time before. Whether that means one of them's definitely going to reject us or not, I don't know. But either way, none of them have been completed, so it doesn't really help us a great deal. Connor Chaplin's been offered a new contract, so he's actually doing a few bits of work at the same time here now. I don't care about the Carabao FA Cup this season as much as I love the FA Cup. We can't be worrying about that this year, so I'm going to set low for that. That'll give us a little bit more transfer budget as well, but he's not spending what we've got already, so that's pretty pointless at this point, isn't it? Chris Kasper, no, he's not been working his backside off, but he's trying to prove himself now, to be fair. The last 2 days, he's offered a contract and put into a loan bid and a transfer bid. That's about the most I've ever seen from him, so I'm going to take what I can get at this point. Admittedly, it's come a bit late, 9 days to the season. None of them will have time to bed in to train with the squad. They probably won't even know each other's names by the start of the season. But he's done some deals, and one of them's been completed. It's Johnston, the right back from Celtic. $1,500 a week, so we're very much working on budget deals at the minute. 5-star potential though. Definitely our best right back ahead of Carl John, who's injured anyway. Aggressive, which worries me for the red cards, but otherwise a very decent player. I'm thoroughly pleased with that. Connor Chaplin signed a new 3-year deal, He's a good player. $8,500 a week. Scoring goals last season, no problem with that. That's a positive day. So if you can get the other deal done quickly, or as quick as he did that Johnston one, he might even get 2 or 3 more done in the next week and a half. So he could yet have a bumper end to this stream. It's been a difficult 2 months, but the last week could be where all the chaos ensues. So let's wait and see if he can do something special. And of course, don't forget, we've still got Dalbeattie Star as well. A big friendly to come up. Hopefully a couple of those will get debuts. Can we get that other deal over the line? Not just yet. An under 18 injured. Kyle John back to fitness. We're getting there. I mean, I am going to have to promote those under 23s again because we're going to need the 2 or 3 of them in the squad. But otherwise, we're getting much closer to what would actually be a decent team. Not a championship standard team, but a decent team that can compete. But having said that, we've got a loan offer for Carl John. He's accepted it. A 25-year-old winger. Now, he was on the loan list, but obviously I can't do anything about that. But he's now loaning out our backup right winger and right back, despite having no replacements. I almost don't know what to say about that, but there we go. He's doing his best to annoy us, isn't he? Can't just have one completely good day. Signed a player, got a new contract yesterday, and then the very next day upsets me. There you go. That's Chris Kasper in a nutshell for you. Let me know what you think of that. Thank you to everyone who's still sticking along with it. If you haven't yet, please put a thumbs up on it. I do appreciate your continued support. I'd love to do more of these in the future, so let me know what sort of things you'd like to see me stream. Would you like to see me make up a completely new stream series? Maybe go through transfer specials in both series? Maybe just play through some games, whichever way. I'd quite like to do a stream series next year. It's something I'm interested in. But I've got to perfect it first, so thank you for your help with the technical bits earlier on. I do appreciate that as well. Otherwise, we're in a pretty difficult position here because we've got Dalbeattie start, then no friendlies to get fitness, 1 week to the season, and still just the 4 signings at the moment. So hopefully that other one, the Tony Hughes I think it was, will come in. He could be a big player for us if he does. Otherwise, I think we're down to the bare bones, but we should just about be able to scrape an 18 together now. That was before he started loaning out Carl John though. Milsom's fit, Carl John's fit, but he's going out on loan by the looks of it. McGinley's fit. Adam Randell, he's coming back to fitness quick. Fair play to him. He might just make the second game of the season. So let's hope we get no injuries. That's the only thing we need to touch wood for today. Dalbeattie Star on the road. Tough fixture. Tough trip anyway. 6-1 win. That's what we wanted. Labala, Chaplin with 3, Joe Williams and George Grant getting 1 as well. What a waste of money he was. See, last season he went for George Grant, didn't he? He signed early in the window. Big money deal. And this season not doing anything of the likes. It really is bizarre after promotion. Darren, do a Yeovil Town save. Do you know what's quite interesting actually? We've got a network series coming up on this channel. Craig's popped over. We're going to do a year in the National League with 2 clubs. And we very almost ended up at Yeovil, one of us. We didn't in the end, unfortunately. But they are the second favourites for the title. And we have picked teams who are in that playoff hunt. So we're definitely going to be talking about Yeovil, even if not managing Yeovil. But I am glad you travel the country watching them, because that's something I do with Luton Town, and even for neutral games now, trying to do the 92. So if Yeovil come back out, I will be dropping down to Somerset for a game. And I'm sure Tom will as well, who's doing the 92 with me, who's making a series that we're talking about later on. It's certainly a ground or an area of the country I wouldn't mind going to compared to some others. Certainly when you consider Barrow coming up. It's a great train ride up to Carlisle, but Barrow, probably not the biggest club or ground that you'd get excited about. Maybe Notts County coming back up in the playoffs could be great. Of course, we don't know when the National League season will start again yet. Hopefully not too long. But working in the NHS, I can tell you it's probably going to be a bit longer than we reckon at the minute. It doesn't look great, to be brutally honest. But let's not focus on that for now, because we want to keep as positive as possible. We've got more scout reports coming in and no offers. So it looks like it was just a one-off, those two bids at once, because now we're just sitting here waiting for the second one. So maybe it's just one transfer and one loan. I don't know. I've never seen two permanent signings or two loans in a row. Maybe that's how he sticks with it at the minute. Thank you for those who are newly popping along again. We're in the last week of the stream now before the season, so we shouldn't be too much longer. We're just waiting to see if Tony Hughes comes in, and then whether we can get one or two more in before the season. Chris Kasper on a month-to-month contract, so perhaps not giving his all. He should probably be trying to earn one, but he doesn't seem to be in that sort of ilk at the moment. And we're basically fighting with a threadbare skeleton squad going into our highest level in 2 years. So we're back in the Championship and we've got a significantly weaker squad than won League One last year. And I'm sure I don't need to tell you that probably isn't going to go too well. So we'll wait and see what happens, but I'm not the most optimistic about the season ahead. While it's saving and skipping ahead, I will remind you of the videos coming later today. Just because we're doing a live stream, the content doesn't stop. At 4:30, we've got our first stadium review episode. It's called Review the 92, which myself and a friend are attempting to do. Accrington Stanley are the first focus. So if you've ever visited the Crown Ground or the Wham Stadium as it now is, come and get involved. Let us know if you agree with what we say. Also, the day we went, it was horrible weather. Also, later at 7 o'clock today over on the podcast channel, we've got the start of our League One network save. So myself against Craig and Charlie. And hang on a minute. Oh, it's happened, hasn't it? Tony Hughes has rejected us. Let's sort out the captains quickly. We'll leave it with who it was last season. There's no need for us to change it. It worked very well. We won the league. Tony Hughes went to Reading. So he's rejected us. That's great. And we've now got in a bid for Costello. So he's a left winger and striker from Norwich. But 5 days to the season, is he going to get here in time? He's not going to play on the left wing because Labala's there. And up front we got Chaplin. So instead of getting in a player who can play on the right that we need, we've now got another player in our two strongest attacking positions. That makes sense, doesn't it? He's really upsetting me, Chris Kasper, today. I know he's never stolen the show completely, but we need a new club just to get a different director of football. I'm starting to think if he had been sacked and been replaced, we might be doing a bit better now. But as it is, no news is bad news. This series, after we do get to the first game of the season, I'll show that live on camera on Tuesday. That'll be our usual 4:30 episode. That'll be against Middlesbrough with our threadbare squad. We'll talk through the transfers as well, just to see where they're going to fit into our tactic, which may well have to change based on this. Barnsley have put in a bid for the... Barnsley? Where did they finish last year? Oh, to be fair, they were Premier League 2 years ago. They're bidding £10 million for strikers. How are we supposed to compete with that? We're getting rejected by blokes for 100 grand. We're not going to be competing with those sort of clubs, are we? Barnsley were only just in the top half last year. That sort of shows you the task that we've got to... The mountain we've got to climb, this year. It's a really tough task, and I'm a little bit worried about it, because the last thing we want is to be bottom, get sacked, and then have to build from League One again. So we've got to keep looking for them outs. If we can just find some sort of way of hanging just outside the relegation zone, and then maybe getting a job offer, that would be amazing. Andrew quiz, yes, as I mentioned to the viewers earlier, I'm going to force you to record this quiz with me and Tom, and we're going to put it on the channel, so you can be the quiz master and you'll be famous for it. The Costello offer's been accepted. We've put in a contract offer for him, but again, a couple of other clubs want him, so that probably rules out us being the first choice. Thank you for those of you who are still along. The numbers have stayed consistent throughout. I can't thank you enough for that. If you haven't yet, please do put a thumbs up on it. But I really am grateful for all your support. Thank you for helping solve the technical issues. Thank you for sticking with me in my time of need, because I have had some scary, hairy moments in this transfer window. We've got 1 week of the transfer window to go, but 2 days until the start of the season. That is the point at which we will leave the stream, and then we'll be back on Tuesday for that first game of the season in our normal video, in addition to transfer deadline day, and maybe even a win against Ipswich, hopefully. There are relegation rivals, don't forget. They're expected to go down. So if we're not going to beat Ipswich at home, we're not going to stay up. And look, 2 days before the season, he's been rejected by a replacement and has now loaned out Kyle John. I mean, what's he doing? Look at the squad, it's tiny. Kyle John's now out, so that leaves us with 6, 9, 12, 17 first team players. One of them is injured. In the under 23s, Sam Taylor we're going to have to promote now because we need a right winger with Teller. And I don't think there's anyone else of that quality. Mark Oldnall's not good enough. He's loan listed and he should be let go. It's not good. It doesn't look good at all, to be honest. The under 18s, have we got any stars suddenly? No, no one's really improving that quickly. Steve Moore's got a bigger potential. It's another left back. The one position we don't need anyone. Scary, hairy moments, Green. Yes. Because he shaved the Barnet. No thanks, mate. You're all right. You still look good with your Barnet cut. Don't worry. The viewers will see you when you do the quiz. And they'll be able to tell you. You look 10 years younger than me, so they'll be delighted when they find out that you're 5 months older. 1 day to go then. We're to the pre-match press conference and it doesn't look like we're going to get that extra sign-in. We've still got that bid in for Costello, but bar that one little surprise moment, we've never had more than one bid in at once. We've still used most of the loan spaces. Dixon's come in, of course. Not really much else happening though. And that's really, really worrying considering we've been promoted. If I take you to the budgets, they're basically... We've lost 40 grand off the wage budget because we've all the loan players have gone back and a couple have been loaned out. The transfer budget's basically the same, bar the extra bit where we've gone for the lower domestic cup bonuses. And he's not used any of it. It's been a really bad summer. A really bad summer. Chris Kasper himself hasn't even got a contract. And it might be the worst transfer window I've ever had with the director of football. It's competing with that Kettering one where we started the season with 3 youth players on the bench and 1 in the lineup. I think we had 12 players in that one. This one, we can't even name a full bench in the Championship with senior pros. And that's before you take in the 1 or 2 injuries as well. Ian Edwards at Charlton, one of the stars, he signed a new deal. 2 messages. Please be the signing. Nope. I just need one more signing before that season starts. Costello's a good player. He'll at least help us out in the squad. But we've reached match day and it's not going to happen. We're just 7 hours from kickoff. And we're going to go into it without 18 fit senior players. That's the one thing I couldn't have predicted happening at the start. It really is quite worrying. Thank you to everyone who's sticking along to the end. We've got 6 hours to go. We'll very quickly round up the players who are in. And then we'll be back on Tuesday for this first game of the season, where I think things could go quite remarkably wrong. I'm just hoping one of these little ticker items will be Costello joining the club. But it's not. We've got a Williams contract clause reminder. If we gain promotion this season, he gets an extension. He won't play 10 games and we're not getting promoted. We'll do well not to finish bottom. But there we go. We've reached 3 o'clock and we have no more signings. We only have 1 bid in progress. If we go to our transfer history, just to finish off, we've signed 5 players, 4 of which we didn't know about pre-stream. We've released a few. Charlie Savage and Kyle John have gone out on loan. We've released the likes of Zach Brown, Tunji Akinola, Bailey Clements. Cole Frost was a decent player out on loan as well. And we've signed 4. So just to round them up, Stephen Edmondson-Roos, who will be our new first choice left back. Decent player, the big summer signing so far. Nathan McGinley, who worryingly might have to start as a centre half. Far weaker than any of the players we had here last year. He came in on the cheap. Archie Dixon back from Leeds for another spell. Good player, delighted to have him in the middle. Lovely little soul patch as well there. And then Greg Johnston on loan from Celtic, a right back, good replacement for Porter, pretty much like for like. But that's not going to give us a big enough squad. It looks pretty pitiful at the moment. Carl John out on loan there, so we can exclude him as well. Let's put him down to the 23s. And then Adam Randell injured too. We've barely got an 18. Loads of transfer budget left. Loads of loan budget sitting remaining. And none of it's been used. What a way to finish, eh? A massive thank you to everyone who came and joined along for the first live stream. To see consistency towards the end, I really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, a final plea, please just put a thumbs up on there. It does make such a difference and I do appreciate it. If you've missed any of it, I'll try and put a replay on the channel over the next few hours. So hopefully you'll be able to catch up with that as well. And don't forget, we'll be back at 4:30 with the start of our brand new series. Nothing FM20 related. Our first venture into real football on this channel. And then over on the podcast channel at 8 o'clock, we're almost doing a bit of a switch around. Because over there we're doing an FM network series at 7 PM. So I hope to see you later for those ones. Thanks to everyone who got involved down in the chat for putting a thumbs up on it. And if you have already subscribed, I can see a few of you have since the start of the stream. So a big thank you for all your support. And I'd love to do more of these in the future. So let me know down in the comments to this video when it goes out. What do you think we should stream in future? Should we come up with a stream save? Or should we do more transfer specials from this one? But thanks again for watching. And I'll see you later.